All right, it has been a very long time, hasn't it, Bills?
Too long, man.
It's
Too
been it's
long.
been goddamn 6 months, man. It's been about 6 months
Yeah.
since we did this, and last time we talked about going live, but I'm against going live. I have my reasons, and I'll talk about that maybe sometime in this episode. But it's been a while since we did this. If you don't know what this is the First and Framerates podcast. I am one of the hosts and founder, Silent Gamer. Most people call me VF, but I have my co-host. His name is Bills. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Gaming and watching these NBA playoffs. Everything's going pretty good. How you been, man?
I've been doing good, man. I mean, if you haven't been following me on Twitter, one of the main reasons why this podcast hasn't been going on, any content on my channel has been going on. I've recently bought a house, and still got work to be done here, but it's a pretty decent house. I've got my game room up and running, and got all this other stuff going on. But I finally got my stuff together to actually produce content. And if you looked at any of the last few episodes, not episodes, I'm sorry, videos that I've done, I've just kind of shift things in a different direction. But as far as just keeping it, more expanding on the gaming aspect. But here on this podcast, we continuously going to talk about sports because that's what interests us the most when it comes to social issues. For the most part, it's one of the issues that we most agree on, and we
Mm-hmm.
do mix other things up with it that we will get into as far as sports and sports gaming, and we're going to talk about most of that. So if this is your first time checking this podcast out, congratulations, and I appreciate you finding us because we're going to give you the best content possible, bar none. Even though this is a very small channel, we're going to give you something that's authentic. We're going to give you something that's real. We're not going to, play a role or play a character just
Nah,
so you can continue to watch us. What you
nah.
see is what you get. It's going to be us being honest about the topics that we come across, and we're
Yep.
going to continue to be as real and honest and unbiased as possible. Um, Anything you want to add to that, Bills?
Nah, I mean, yeah, pretty much you covered everything as far as what we're trying to accomplish with this podcast is pretty much just putting out the best content and the most unbiased commentary you could probably find on YouTube and anywhere else as far as these topics that we go over from podcast to podcast. And I just hope more people come and start watching. I know we've been gone for a really long time, but we're back now, and I hope more people come and spread the word on the way.
Most definitely, and I'm really shooting towards Thursday mornings to upload the podcast. Maybe sometime throughout the day of Thursday, but I'm thinking about every Thursday is a very good window where we can discuss things throughout the week. It's the middle of the week, and we also can look at things going forward, especially when football season come. I think that's a perfect time for us to actually talk about the things that we seen the week before and what's going to happen in the week to come. So
Right.
check us out on Thursdays. We're going to try to get everything done, barring our schedules, because I mean, this is not our life. We do have other things we have to do, but we're going to make a really heavy commitment to keep pushing to give you this content on Thursdays. So
Mhm.
today we're going to talk about various topics going across the NBA, the NFL. We're going to talk about some gaming, but like I said, we're going to talk about gaming. We're going to start off with that first. Games that have been going on for the past 4 or 5 months, man. What have you been dwelling into?
I've been playing God of War. I'm almost finished with God of War. Amazing game,
Yeah, that is a great game. It really is.
dude. I haven't played many games in my life that I would grade a 10 out of 10, but that's as close as it gets. If it's not a 10 out of 10, it's at least a 9.5.
Yeah, I'm already giving it a 10 out of 10. I haven't played that much of it this past few days because
Right.
my wife, she loves watching me play games like this, and she's been busy. She's a fitness guru. She likes to work out and stuff, so that's what she does when she's not working. So she doesn't come up here to the game room as much, but when she does, No matter what I'm doing, she was like, "Look, put that game on. I want to watch," and that's what I
Yeah.
do. So that's why I haven't ran through the game like I wanted to, because it's like I don't want to spoil nothing for myself or her. Because if I go through it, yeah, more likely the game is great enough to play through it again, but I want to experience the game along with her. So, but as far I'm about maybe 10 hours in, and I'm loving it. I mean, I can't sit here and say, "Oh, I need to play the rest of the game to give it a score." No, knowing what I know now about God of War in the series, because I played every game, and this game is like possibly this could be the best game on the PS4 or the actual PS4 life cycle. It's really that good.
Yeah, I mean, ooh, yeah, that it's got to be no lower than second because I guess you could go Uncharted 4.
Yeah, but you got to think about it though. It's like look at the let's be honest, look at the games that have come out this generation on the PS4 or the Xbox One. There
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been nothing to like there's nothing to jump out at you like, "Wow, this is what we've been looking for when I got this console." I mean, when you had a
Nah,
PS,
yeah, that's true.
when
I
we
mean, cause okay, as far as gameplay, Horizon Zero Dawn is up there, but graphically, gameplay, storytelling, everything, I think God of War is a complete package.
the Horizon is close is really close though. It is.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. When you had a PS3 or Xbox 360, there were tons of games that just jumped out at you. On every year, those games, that console was actually relevant. And PS3 and 360 was just excellent with games. The back in the original Xbox and PS2 days, excellent. And I can go back on and on and on. This generation, they focused a lot on graphics
Mhm.
and not much of the storytelling or the actual great gameplay some games are. That's why you see a lot of indie games that came out this year, or not this year, but this console cycle, and really thrive because your AAA titles like a God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn or Gears of War or anything like that you just haven't had a whole bunch of them like we did last generation.
But
So
see, that's why this game is so impressive is because obviously as generations go on, especially console generations in general, um, you like gamers become jaded. It's harder to impress us. We'll
yes,
continue to play
yes.
games out of a force of habit, but at the same time, it's hard for us to be like, wow, now that was crazy. I didn't expect that. Oh, wow, that was impressive. I've never seen that before. And God of War, just the way they immerse you from the moment the game starts. Like, as soon as you start the game, he's cutting down a tree. He picks up the tree, carries it on his shoulder. The way they build the story of Kratos, like, you wouldn't even have to have played the other games to know that this dude is a boss.
Right,
He's a fucking beast. The way they
right.
introduce you to him is perfect, and then they draw you in with the story about his son, and as you progress they tell you more and more about it. And I think that's a part of storytelling that a lot of these games are not hitting on, as far as the immersion factor of introducing you to who this character is. Like, the last game that I really played that immersed you in that way, as far as showing you exactly who the characters are, what they're about, would probably be GTA 5. And they had to do it for 3 characters.
GTA 5 did very good, and I know you haven't played The Last of Us, but I
I
can't.
play, yeah, I played it slightly. I didn't
Yeah,
finish
and
it.
I really can't put that on the level of this generation because that's technically a PS3 game. GTA 5 is another one. That's technically that's a PS3 Xbox 360 game. So it just goes back to what I'm saying. It's
Mm-hmm.
like nothing this generation really pulled you in like those two titles. And Uncharted 4 did it. I mean,
Ah.
you actually relate to the characters when you're playing them.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get that sense in that many games this generation,
No.
and that kind of sucks. A lot of people are going to sit back and say this was a good generation, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, compared to the other ones, it's going to be more of a great generation because of how well the games look. Now there are some games out there that are actually pretty decent, but none of them really captivated us like the last generation. In my
No.
opinion, I don't think that it was there. But
No, I mean, think about how I'll give you another example. Think about how GTA 4 started.
Exactly. GTA 4 came out the gate running. Look at GTA 3 on the
Mm-hmm.
PS2. It just came
Yep.
out the door running. When we
Right.
got the PS4 and we got the Xbox One, we got games like Knack and
Mm-hmm.
Rise and
Yep.
what we got on the I can't even remember what we got on the PS4. Yeah,
Killzone.
Killzone, Shadowfall. I mean, we got those type of games, and we was like, yeah, they were launch titles, and I don't think the Grand Theft Auto wasn't necessarily a launch title for those
Mm-hmm.
consoles, but throughout the years, it's like you didn't have nothing to jump out at you like, man, I need to
Nah.
get this console. Most people say, hey, I need to get this console because I had the one beforehand. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another reason why possibly these console wars are so ridiculous now because they felt like they just needed to piggyback on what the 360 was, what the 360 when they had it, or the PS3 when they had it. Not
And
necessarily.
that's the thing. It's like, okay, like I don't get this console war from the beginning because if you look at both sides, Xbox One has certain games that are 4K enhanced that aren't on the PS4. PS4 has certain games that aren't 4K enhanced on the Xbox One. PS4 might have um a bit, a couple of games like on multi-platforms that are better looking, but like both being 4K enhanced, obviously. But I mean, at the same time, it's equal until you get to the exclusives. If we're being honest.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, third party is the lifeblood of a console, but
Exactly.
and third party is, but first party, those exclusives are the ones that make the consoles memorable.
Hmm.
I mean, when I think when you hear Nintendo, you think of Mario. When you
Yep.
think of Super Nintendo, you think of Super Mario World. I mean,
Hmm.
when you think of Sega, it's Sonic. When you think of the PlayStation 1, it's Crash Bandicoot. And I know these games are like mascots, but most of the time when you hear about these consoles, that's the first thing that pops off. You hear about the Dreamcast, there's Shenmue. You think about the GameCube, and you have Mario Odyssey, not Mario
Hmm.
Odyssey. You have Mario Sunshine, or you have Luigi's Mansion, or
Even PS2, you had Crash, Spyro, games like
right? You
that.
had Crash, Spyro, Eco, Shadow of Colossus.
So
You
my
had
question is for
Metal.
this
You had
generation,
Metal Gear. You know,
yeah.
and
So my question would be for this generation, like, what is Xbox flagship game?
I hate to say it, but right now you're probably looking at another Halo, Gears, or
Right.
or Cuphead.
Right.
I don't even want to say Forza because we know Forza is obvious, but I don't. I
Hmm.
mean, it's a flagship that only a few guys like me and you.
Hmm.
It's a neat. It's almost kind of saying I don't want people to take this the bad way, but
Hmm.
it's almost like Forza is to Xbox like MLB The Show is to PlayStation.
Exactly.
Both of them are like niche. They're niche games that only a certain crowd likes,
Right.
but they're high quality games that come out on a yearly basis.
Yeah, and
So
it gets to the point where, okay, if you're Xbox, if you're Microsoft, you have to you have to bring about a new game that's going to be a flagship game for generations, that go on. Because when you look at PS4 and you look at the heavy hitting exclusives that they have between getting the exclusive license for a Spider-Man game, getting an exclusive license. I mean, what else is exclusive on
right,
their console? MLB The Show,
MLB
obviously.
The Show, you have Horizon Zero Dawn,
Um,
you have Neo
right,
Automata, you have. I mean, there's just so
exactly.
many. I mean, even though
Uncharted.
Uncharted, you know what I'm saying? So it's so many that Last of Us. It's so many that can go down that route. It's just
Exactly.
it's really tough to like say you know, the PlayStation 4 is going to be a memorable console, and it's not to bash the Xbox, but
Hmm.
Xbox just did not do a good job of securing or making games that say, you know what, I love this console because of this. Some people going to be, no, some people can say I love this console because of this game. Most people going to
Hmm.
say they love the Xbox just because of the ecosystem or because
Yep.
you can play anywhere or and Killer Instinct had they had the forte to be that memorable game because that
Hmm.
game is actually pretty good and I'm a big fighting game guy, but it just at the end of the day with all the content in it, it's a very good fighter, but it just feels bland compared to the other fighters. I mean,
And this generation of consoles has pretty much devolved into, if you're a casual gamer, you're pretty much just choosing which console you're gonna play the multi-plats on. You're
Pretty
not
much.
buying consoles for exclusives anymore,
Right.
and the people who do, they're buying PS4s and not buying
I
Xboxes,
mean, I
rightfully so.
and I think that's what I think that's you hit the nail on the head. It's not most casual gamers would prefer their particular console, but when it comes to actually playing games, you're gonna look at all those games that PlayStation have, and they're gonna be like, look, I may have to get a second console, or I might just have to trade this Xbox One in and
Hmm.
get it, regardless of the fact that the Xbox One X, as beautiful as that console is, and how powerful it is, it
Hmm.
doesn't mean much if you don't have the games. I mean, look at the Neo Geo. I
Yep.
mean, that was probably before your time, but the Neo Geo was clearly the most powerful console for years.
Right.
Even when the Saturn and the PlayStation and all that. I mean, these guys, the Neo Geo SNK had a console that was basically an arcade. It was just basically an arcade machine that you could
Hmm.
bring home. I mean, you
Right.
got you got literally arcade perfect games, and yes, the Saturn did a pretty good job of bringing arcade ports to make it look like the arcade. But you had genuinely arcade games that was in the arcade boards or in the arcade cabinets at the arcade. The same game 1 to 1 basically came home. So, but
Yep.
even then, how many people had a Neo Geo?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
it
that's the thing. It's just it's gotten to the point in this generation where your big releases are, well, oh, they're gonna remaster this game.
I'm
Oh, they're
not,
gonna remaster.
I'm not even gonna go into that. That's a whole nother
Yeah,
topic we can get into. Remasters, I've gotten to the point where I respect them now, but it was one point, maybe 2.5 years ago, they were kicking them out like this.
that's what I'm
You know what I'm
saying.
saying? And that got old very fast. And they're still kind of doing it on the low, but
Yeah,
it almost made that this console generation was about remasters.
there are games coming out on the Xbox that aren't 4K enhanced, but Red Dead Redemption is enhanced.
I'm glad that that's a great segue. Red Dead, I haven't played it yet on the Xbox One X because I don't have one because
Hmm.
I was going to buy one, but as soon as we got approved for this house, all that just went to all the money went to just getting stuff for this house.
Right.
But I'm so glad that Rockstar decided to put that enhance that game, which there's another game that they could do since it's already backwards compatible. GTA 4 could use that too, since
Yep.
since Rockstar just did that, but they did that, and that game was already beautiful on the 360. It looks way better on the 360 than the PS3, and for them
Hmm.
to enhance it for 4K, I don't even care if it's 30 frames. That game is that is a great service to gamers. That's something that we need because that game is too good not to get for it not to get that kind of treatment. And
No, I agree.
there's some other games that's in that backwards compatibility program that could use that kind of treatment, but
And it's
nevertheless,
funny because in the last generation, people were making jokes like, "Oh, this game is so long." I mean, that's what we want. You want to play a short game?
I mean, as you get older, some people want to play a short game, but those type of games don't need to be short.
No, because they're open world.
Right.
So it's like,
If you want to play a short game, I mean, don't go into a Grand Theft Auto or a L.A. Noir or don't go into a Red Dead thinking that you're gonna play the same way you would play like a Super Mario game. No,
or Skyrim for that matter.
right. You don't go into those games thinking that you're gonna spend 4 or 5 hours on it. Oh, I'm done. No,
Yeah,
these
you need a linear game for that to
Right,
be the case.
exactly. These type of games are the ones, The Witcher 3, all these other type of games that are like that. Those
Hmm.
are the games that need to have that long 15, not even gonna say 15, 20, 25, 30 hour, 40 hour games.
Yep.
Like God of War, for instance. I mean, a lot of
Hmm.
people beat that game in a couple of days. I'm like, how in the hell you did that? I'm 10 hours in and I know I'm nowhere near it, but God of War's always been that kind of game. Even back on the PlayStation 2, God of War 2 is a very long game.
Mm-hmm.
and I love that. But it all comes into the storytelling and the type of game that it is. Uncharted 4 is another one. Horizon Zero Dawn is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Long, good single player games that we can play for a few hours, go to work, come back, say, "Oh yeah, let me go in and finish this," instead of just sitting there and playing it in one day, and you
You
feel
can
like
even
you.
put Mafia in that
Yeah, Mafia 3
discussion.
is
Mafia.
another one. Mafia 2 is another one. I don't know if you played that. Mafia 2 is a
Yep, I
great
did.
game. These games are the ones that when you play, you felt like you get your $60 worth. You don't feel like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I just beat this game in 5 hours. It's like, man, I could have waited till this game was $20.
Right.
No, no. These are the games that we want as gamers. Especially when I backtracked away from the sports titles that I was playing because I went back to my roots. Games I used to play when I did only have an original Xbox, when I only
Mm-hmm.
had a PlayStation 2, when I only had a Dreamcast. These games that are not sports related, when I'm not knocking sports games, it was these type of adventure games where the storytelling was great, where it really felt like, and I know people gonna look at this as the wrong way, it felt like you were playing a movie as well as, well, you were captivated in like a movie, but you're
Mm-hmm.
playing a game.
Right.
This is the type of stuff that we need, and
Oh, here's another one. Okay. A lot of people might not play this because they might not have another person to play with. A Way Out is another game that will be remembered.
yes, EA did and a lot of people like to give credit to EA for a lot of stuff, but EA did
Mm-hmm.
a great job of letting that indie company put that game out. Me and
Yes,
my
sir.
me and my wife are about to start playing that maybe this weekend because I told her about it.
Y'all are gonna love it.
Yeah, I mean, she looked at the cover of the game and she was like, "Oh yeah, I think this is something that we can do." Because my wife is not that big of a gamer. She plays games on her iPad or she'll play on her phone, but
Mm-hmm.
she'll come up here and she'll play like something on my Nintendo, like some old Mario games. She'll play Doctor Mario, or
Right.
but or any other time I'll hook up my arcade sticks, which I'm gonna make a video on that soon. I'll hook up my arcade stick and she'll play like Giga Wing with me, or she'll play like any other shooter, some little
That's what's
arcade,
up.
and she likes stuff like that. But so I know that she's gonna love this. I mean, I bought it along with God of War, and
Right.
it's like I said, she's just a fitness guru. She likes to go work out, so I never got a chance to really start it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I put on God of War, she just wanted to sit right here and watch it, but.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely gonna get into that, and game. Another thing, that's another thing. Games like that where it's co-op and you play with your friends and you actually enjoy playing games together. It's teamwork and you fellowshipping together for something positive instead of what we see on social media now. Everybody's mad at each other on why this
Mm-hmm.
game needs a patch, why this
Yep.
game don't work right, why this person a douchebag
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter, why I'm getting harassed on in the chats in a game, and getting mad at devs or getting mad at somebody because they like a game, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like this. Is they need We need more of this, especially if you can get a chance to get with a buddy and play on the couch co-op and play with somebody face to face instead of being online and talking to somebody you don't even know. That's what make games great, and that's why I went back to my roots for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great thing. But enough of that because we pretty much touched on video games at the most part. I mean, for the
Right.
most part, I've just been having a blast playing these games or whatever. I set up the game room, and I appreciate my consoles more because they're not just up on in a corner somewhere, just hooked up to a TV. I actually got them set out a nice way, so I look at it like, hey man, I think I want to play that.
Right. Exactly.
It's just great when you have it set up like that. And I recommend anybody get at least two, maybe three consoles, and it not necessarily have to be a new one. Just get something you may be low key interested in. Like, hey, I want to go back and get a PlayStation 2 or play some games I haven't played before. I want to play I want to play a GameCube because I haven't. There's some games I haven't played on it, and just have it there and just let it sit. And I promise you, you will be interested and you will have a different take on games in general. You just feel differently about it and you have much more enjoyment.
Oh
So,
yeah.
um, so we talked about the game stuff, and I guess this is a good time to jump into the sports stuff. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
if anybody knows about this podcast, we talk about sports and sports gaming. But right now, we did talk about games first because That's one thing that we really been having fun with. But now we're going to talk about this NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, everybody know you like the Patriots, you like
Yep.
you like the Jets. Those are your two teams that you're fond of. Me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Falcons fan. But I grew up a 49ers fan, but I really didn't too much care for them too much lately, but I do like to see
Right.
what they do from a distance. And this has nothing to do draft related, but a couple of fellow guys that went to my school at Georgia Southern, Matt Breda and Jarrett McKinnon, both of them play for 49ers now. And they
Right.
played at Georgia Southern, so that's great that we have some Eagles in in the NFL. We still got J.J. Wilcox and the guy
Mm-hmm.
who, and rest in peace to the guy who passed that played for the Colts. I can't remember his name to this
Oh yeah,
quick.
yeah, yeah, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
he came out of Georgia Southern as well. It's just like I love it. I mean, I try to tell people for the longest, like, look, these dudes down here in South Georgia, man, we got some talent down here.
Exactly.
I played on the team, so I know. I mean, we got some talent down here, and I'm glad to see it starting to shine. But anyway, where do you want to start with the draft? I'm gonna let you kick it off, and we can go from there, and we can give our thoughts on each team.
I would start by, I think we might have discussed this already, but we could go over it again for the podcast. What do you think about Baker Mayfield going first?
I like the pick, but I don't like it. And I know people gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you don't have a real stance on it." I like the pick because they need a winning quarterback, and I'm not saying that he's necessarily a winner, but he wants to win.
Mm-hmm.
Every quarterback that came through Cleveland, outside of Johnny Manziel, and that's a different issue. How me and you feel
Oh
about him.
boy.
I
Yeah.
mean, we love the kid, but he straight up disappointed us with the off the field
Yeah,
stuff.
he's a bonehead.
Yeah, he really is. But Baker wants to win. Johnny
Mm-hmm.
wants to win, but Baker's not gonna get in trouble like Johnny.
Nah.
So with that being said, I like the mentality, and I like Hugh Jackson being there to be with him. But
Mm-hmm.
they really need to just tone him down a little bit so he don't try to do too much.
I agree.
That will be the downfall of him. It won't be because of his talent. It won't be because of his playmaking ability. Is the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he has to slow down because he needs to learn the game he needs to learn the game of the NFL. It's not like college. Yes, you can be a gunslinger, but you can't be a reckless gunslinger.
Right.
Does that make sense? I'll put it like this:
Yeah.
you can be you can be a gunslinger, i.e., Brett Favre or Philip Rivers. You can be that,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to have that mind like Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan or
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady. If
Right.
he can get that mindset like those three quarterbacks we talked about, but he can have that mentality. He can have that. I ain't gonna say mentality, but if you can have that ability or that, or I can say it both ways. If he got that mindset like a Philip Rivers and a Brett Favre when it comes to just slinging the football,
Mm-hmm.
and I can, like I said, I'll double back, but have that patience and poise of the other three that we put out there,
Right.
he could be something very special. But I know he kind of get in his way sometime on the football field.
I
That
think I think I think the perfect prototype for him to aspire to be is Matt Stafford.
Okay, perfect. That's basically just molded all the quarterbacks I talked about into one. Perfect.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally
I
agree.
mean, because Matt Stafford is not a guy that will lose you the game. He's a guy that has learned to not try to do too much, not try to fit passes into spots that they can't go, not try to beat coverage that can't be beaten with his arm. But on the other side of it, he's such a talented quarterback with his arm that when he has to improvise, he can, and he can burn a defense.
And you know what really kind of sucks that he may have to improvise a little bit because Joe Thomas left. He may
Yep.
need to move around a little bit in that pocket, and that kind of sucks. But hey, Joe Thomas, I mean, he did what he could until the very end. I don't blame him for retiring, but
No, he definitely did.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he's one left tackle that actually did his job, and it was not his fault
Right.
that the Browns sucked. I can tell you that much.
I mean,
It,
looking at Matthew Stafford's stats, his rookie year he was 13 touchdowns, 20 picks. Ever since then, he's pretty much he. I mean, he had a couple of bad years, 20 touchdowns and 17 picks, not really where you want to be. 29 and 19, not bad, and then 22 and 12, 32 and 13, 24 and 10, and 29 and 10. So I mean, I don't think he's ever going to be that guy that's a single digit interception guy because there are very few guys that can do that. But when you take the amount of chances that he takes and you see the reason why and you see that his interception numbers are going down, I think that's what Baker Mayfield needs to inspire to be. It's aspire to
I
be.
mean, you look at the receivers that he got now.
And that's another thing.
I mean, he has
And no run game.
and the running game. I'm about to talk about these picks as well that they made, but
Mm-hmm.
he has the ability to throw as a rookie now.
Yep.
I ain't gonna say he has the ability. He has the 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 tools around him, the players around him to throw. And I think he can go 25 and maybe 16, maybe
I can see that.
13 as a rookie. Now that I mean we're talking about something that what's his name before he got hurt, Deshaun Watson was on the way of doing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I think Baker could do it because of you got Jarvis Landry. Who else he got over there? He got Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon.
And he
They drafted Nick Chubb.
yeah, they drafted Nick Chubb, which a lot of people don't know, who can actually he's a bruising running back, but he can catch out the backfield. And on top of that, I think they still have Isaiah Crowell who can also run and catch as well.
And
So
Chubb can make people miss too.
yeah, 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 he really can. So it's like they have the pieces, so they could do really well. Also, they drafted Denzel Ward. I think they reached for him. I
A bit,
yeah, they
yeah.
reached for him. I mean, it's not a bad pick. Personally, I would have got Bradley Chubb.
See, I think we already spoke about this because I think we agreed you take Saquon first and Mayfield will be there
Well,
for
I mean,
fourth.
yeah, I mean, well, I was gonna get into that after I talked about the rest of these picks, but
Right.
absolutely. But based on what they did in this draft, they could have got Bradley Chubb right here since Saquon was gone,
Right.
and you know they would have still got Nick Chubb, but at the same time, you're looking at somebody who a type of pass rusher that will be very well on the other side of Miles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
No, I
saying?
agree.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you that means your defense would have could possibly put Baker Mayfield in very good field position because of the pressure that they could put on the quarterback, and they could the opposite team could be punting deep in their end zone or deep in their they could be punting deep into their territory, and that
Mm-hmm.
could give very favorable, position for Baker Mayfield. I mean, this is the type of stuff that you would think about. But
Right.
like I said, they ended up getting Nick Chubb. They did get a defensive end, Chad Thomas. They got another receiver, Antonio Callaway. They did get another linebacker from Memphis,
Mm-hmm.
Jenner Avery, which could be a possible nice pick for them.
Right.
Texas A&M wide receiver Damon Radley. I don't know much about him, and they did pick up another cornerback, Simeon Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any. I don't have any reserve for anybody who I mentioned outside of the first three picks.
Right.
They did get an offensive guard in that first part of the second round too. But it's like okay, whatever, you know.
I mean, yeah, Chad Thomas is pretty good. He's obviously not a Bradley Chubb, but he's pretty good. I saw him play at Miami last year. During their little run, he was
Right.
playing well. We'll have to see how they integrate him. But overall, this is set up for Baker to win at least 7 or 8 games this year
Yeah.
if he
Yeah.
starts right away. I
Yeah.
feel like Hugh Jackson is going to bring him along slowly, and if Tyrod Taylor plays well, then maybe Mayfield won't play at all.
He has a quarterback that I ain't gonna say for the most part that I know he's willing to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they would thrive together, unlike the other quarterbacks they had. I mean, Deshaun Kaiser, don't get me wrong, I think he's a pretty decent quarterback, but I don't think he was ready for what he was put into.
Right.
And all the other quarterbacks they had, RG3, they had
Mm-hmm.
Tyrod Taylor. They've been in the game for a minute. So I don't think
Right.
they're ready to be actually trying to learn.
Yeah.
Baker
I mean,
Mayfield.
Cleveland's drafted so many quarterbacks in the past, what, 5 years? It's like, it's a revolving door to the point where, oh, let's try this guy. Let's try Cody Kessler. Oh, let's try this guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
let's try Austin Davis. Oh,
right.
it's like
But
after a while, yeah, it's just,
I think with this one, I think this one has this pick in this time and with this team set up the way there is. I clearly think that Cleveland finally may have a decent quarterback for at least at the minimum 3 years.
I can agree with that.
At the minimum 3 years. So and that's something that's saying a lot thing when we talking about Cleveland quarterbacks.
Right.
Overall when you think about well, before we get into our personal grades,
Hmm.
like you said, they could have easily got Saquon Barkley,
Yeah.
number one overall, and Baker Mayfield would have still been there at number four. I wholeheartedly believe that because
Hmm.
I don't think the Jets wanted Sam Donaldson. You know,
Yep.
Donaldson. They wanted Sam Donald, and it would have forced the Giants to pick somebody else.
The
With
Giants wanted Josh Rosen, from what I heard.
Yeah, yeah, I did hear that too, and that would have made them pick him, and Baker would have been right there at number four. So,
Hmm.
um, with that being said, you know I'm a big Georgia fan. Where do you think Nick Chubb would have probably went in the second round, early
Who?
second round? Who they had?
Yeah.
That would have been
Um.
tough.
He. Who? I mean, okay. Looking at it, Sonny Michel fell to the Pats. Not really fell, but the Pats picked him up. I don't know how they felt about Nick Chubb. I
Ooh,
probably would have.
I know what probably would have happened.
Well,
No, because Nick Chubb went in the second round. I would have said he would probably went to Seattle, but no, they had their pick with Perry.
San Fran might have picked him up.
Yeah,
Seems like a good fit.
yeah, yeah. They could have picked him up. I would have liked to see him in the Lions uniform though.
Yeah, they desperately need
They need a running
a
back.
bruising running back. They have two that can make people miss, but that doesn't win football games.
Yeah,
Oftentimes, there's very few that can win you football games just by making people miss. So,
yeah, yeah. So what you give him a personal grade for the Cleveland Browns?
B plus. I mean, I just think they should have went and got Saquon. Other than that, they addressed all of their needs. I think Baker Mayfield is a good start. Um, and I think that Nick Chubb is a good pick. So
I
when you look at all of that in totality, I mean, you look at Denzel Ward. Should he have been picked there? Arguable. He is going to make their defense better, so I can deal with it. They drafted a guard. They drafted a D end.
got a couple of
So, yeah,
receivers too.
got a couple receivers. So, I mean,
I would give it a B.
Callaway's pretty good,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, he is. I mean, yeah, he is. Antonio Callaway. That's gonna be a really surprising player. I think he's gonna be pretty good overall.
But,
I'm with you. I give him a B, but if they would have got Saquon and Baker, it would have been an A easily.
oh, hell yeah. Easily.
It would have been an
Easily.
E.
That would
Yeah,
have been a perfect way to go about it.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I technically don't want to go through every team because
Nah.
we'll be here for like 3 days.
Right.
So, what other team interests you? I know the Browns interest me. Well,
Um,
since you went already, I'll pick a team that kind of
right.
interests me. I really was kind of surprised at the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like what I mean, even though they didn't do too much that I cared for. What interests me the most is what they did with Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely.
That right there, it tells me a couple things. If um I'm not sure if they're really high on Flacco for the near future because
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson is good enough to actually push for that starting job.
He is.
Also, they did pick up Orlando Brown out of Oklahoma, offensive tackle. They needed a little bit of help there, so that was
And
pretty
the
good.
tight end, which is pretty good.
I
He's
don't care
pretty
for
good.
that tight end. He plays for South Carolina. I don't care for
Oh,
him. I
gee.
really
Nah,
don't.
Oklahoma, bro. Oklahoma.
Hold on. No, I'm looking at this right here, and I know Hayden Hurst because I live here in Columbia. That clown plays for the South Carolina
No, 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 no,
Gamecocks.
no, no, no. The second,
No.
the second tight end.
The second tight end. Hold on, let me look.
Mark
Oh, you're talking
Andrews.
about Mark Andrews. Okay. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's
I
way.
wasn't even gonna touch that South
Okay, yeah.
Carolina pick.
He's way better than Hayden Hurst. I'm sorry. Hayden Hurst might be a talented receiver, might be a talented tight end,
Oh,
but see,
Jesus Christ!
because of the fact he played for Carolina, he's already he's like a 65 on Madden, so I don't care.
Oh my
But
God,
anyway, I do like the Lamar Jackson pick overall. They did get another cornerback, Anthony Averett, from
he's
Alabama. He's going to
yeah,
be really nice, and he's going to fit that defense right where right. He's going to fit that defense. In
yeah.
Texas, Deshaun Elliott, the safety from Texas. Texas hasn't had a pretty good, track record of having players lately, but I
Mhm.
think, with him coming to the Baltimore Ravens, I think he'll be okay if he makes a team because he's 190 overall. So
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I
like
don't.
I like the Averett pick because if you're a cornerback at Alabama, you know you got to tackle. You got to be able to tackle.
Well, I mean,
And
that's not for everybody because there's a guy named D. Milliner out there, and we don't know where he is.
well, he can't really do much of anything, so that's a different story. For being honest, tackling is the least of his worries. That dude.
New Mexico State, Jaleel Scott. I'm gonna tell you, when I had the updated rosters, and I know this is probably be a little out of the way, but
Hmm.
when I had the updated rosters for NCAA 14,
Right.
and I was playing with the New Mexico Lobos, and every year we had to play the New Mexico State Aggies. This kid Jaleel Scott on that video game, I can't speak for him in real life because I don't know how he played in. That kid for New Mexico State
Hmm.
torched me. He torched me every single game I played, and I played like 7 seasons with that team. Every year I remember that name because every time when I played them, he at least got no more, no less than 80 yards a game. So I don't know
Dude.
how he is. I don't know how he is in real life or whatever. But the Baltimore Ravens, desperately always need a receiver. I don't think they ever had a really good receiver since Anquan Bolden left, but that's a different story.
Hmm.
But I think he's going to be really. I think he's going to be pretty good. They also got Jordan Lashley. I don't know much about him from UCLA. They did get Bradley Bozeman, another lineman from Alabama.
Yep.
So they got a pretty decent draft overall. But my main thing is just that Lamar Jackson pick, and I think that is really a good pick for them overall. Um, that kind of interests me. I really want to see how that goes within the next year or two. I don't know if you have anything to add with this particular team because they're not really a interesting team overall, but I do like the Lamar
No,
Jackson pick.
they address some needs. They definitely address some needs. Tight end, tackle, corner, and then Lamar Jackson, like you said, is going to be interesting. So, nah, you pretty much covered everything.
And he said he's gonna bring a Super Bowl to him.
Yo, that kid's the real deal.
I mean, look, if he could do it, I mean, if he could do it, that'd be great, and I think he can. But making it to the Super Bowl is not an easy feat. So
No, it's
we're
not.
gonna see how he is in the
They
next.
do have a good young defense, though.
They always have a good defense, so that's nothing to frown upon. It's just
Well, a
that
couple years ago it was kind of ass, but now they've built upon it.
I,
So, I
I, I
mean,
think
it's
one of the things that really hurt them though that I'm surprised that they did not do, they did not really address the running back situation. And
no, yeah.
I'm actually a little surprised at that because they could use a running back and
Watch out for Adrian Peterson. He's still out there.
that would not be a bad move. It would
Probably
not.
get him for cheap at this point because you would think if anybody was going to give him big money, they would have signed him by now. And it's funny, I looked it up the other day and I was thinking, damn, he's still a free agent. I just happened to see his name,
All
and
right. So
uh,
what
whoever he signs with.
so what grade you want to give the Baltimore Ravens?
As far as addressing all their needs, I mean, they definitely did that, and the Lamar Jackson pick was a bold one. I'll give him a, I'll give him a B minus. I mean,
I'll give him a B. I'll give him a B minus because
yeah,
of Lamar Jackson. If they did not get Lamar Jackson, even
mhm,
though they addressed their needs, they did not pick anybody that really stood out.
I
You
agree.
can make the case that even though they don't have, if they didn't have Lamar Jackson, you're looking at Orlando Brown or Anthony Averett as their standout guy. And with that being said, they could have got a C plus,
Yeah, them
but
not taking Lamar Jackson they would have been lowered for the fact that they didn't address the running back situation. To
right,
me,
exactly. But
yeah.
I see what they're thinking about the future with Flacco and getting a quarterback, and they got a good quarterback. So I would give them a B minus. I'll give them a B minus. I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty fair.
Right.
I guess we can go back and forth again. What other team you want to look at?
Um, I don't want to get too much on the Jets. There's only one pick that I can really talk about that I'm kind of, I don't say baffled, but questionable one, and that's Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I watched Sam Darnold play pretty much every game last year. I'm not really a college football team guy. I don't really have a college football team. I have a few that I like to watch, but I mean overall, I watch just a lot of college football in general. And Sam Darnold didn't impress me last year when everybody said he was going to be the best quarterback of the class and he
The
was going to be the number one pick.
the year before
Right,
the year before was his best year.
no doubt.
This past year was not. So I totally understand where you're coming
And
from.
he has what 39 turnovers in the last 2 years. It's not good.
Right, but I mean, what the last year was the bulk of those turnovers.
Exactly.
The year before, when he had Juju Schuster and all of them, I mean, he was on fire. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, so I mean, I'm looking at everything else because Sam Darnold, it's a definite need, and I think you may not be impressed with him now because of what he did at USC, but
Hmm.
I think the Jets did good. They did very good by picking him. I'm not saying that he's going to be the next coming, the next savior for the Jets, but I think they got a very solid pick with him. But
Not.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
everything. I'm looking at everything else, and I'm just I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know too much about these players, so you
Mm.
definitely gonna have to enlighten me because a lot of people are giving this team praise.
So the defensive tackle is a need that was filled because, um, what's his name? Sheldon Richardson's gone.
Right,
So
right.
I like that. Christopher Herndon is also a good tight end for Miami. Once again, during that streak that they had last year, he played really well.
Yes, he did. He did. He did. I agree.
They addressed the running back situation late in the draft, which I guess, I mean, when you only have the third pick and the next pick you had is in the second round, I can understand. Um, third round actually. So yeah, I mean, I can see it. I just think overall, you got to take Josh Rosen. I
Okay.
just think
Okay.
Josh
Okay.
Rosen
Okay. Okay.
is. I just think he was the best quarterback in this draft. It's no knock against Sam Darnold. It's no knock against Baker
He was. He
Mayfield.
was. I mean, it was out of him. Rosen was the one out of UCLA, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I keep getting him mixed up with Josh Allen. But Rosen was the best passer. He was the best
Definitely.
pure. He was the best pure passer in this draft. So
Oh hell yeah.
I totally agree with you. Yeah.
And he can move around a little bit. I mean, he hurt his knee a couple of years ago, so he's not as mobile as he was. But as far as being the most NFL ready quarterback, and I know that's kind of the kiss of death as far as these phrases are concerned, describing quarterbacks, because NFL ready quarterbacks usually don't pan out so well based on when people break them down and say they're NFL ready. I mean,
The last NFL ready quarterback that I know that actually doing something now. Oh goodness, that was claimed to be NFL ready. You could put Matt Ryan there.
Andrew Luck, but he
Andrew,
got hurt.
yeah, Andrew Luck before he got hurt.
But they said people like Russell Wilson, he wasn't NFL ready. He's too short. He
Right,
doesn't have an
right.
arm. So it's like a lot of times you just have to kind of wait and see. You just have to kind of see things that stick out to you that might not work in NFL, like being turnover prone. In Sam Darnold's case, I think he may be able to work on that. Maybe his mind wasn't fully on football last year. I can't really speculate on that. I do know that he did have an off year, especially considering everybody was saying pretty much he was a Heisman Trophy leader, and he was, all of these things, and it turns out that he wasn't even the best quarterback in the draft. So we'll have to see what happens with him, but I was disappointed that they didn't take Josh Rosen. And I also like the bravado that the kid has. He said that there were.
Oh, he said at first he said it was 9 teams that made a mistake, but now he
Yep,
went down to 3 because those 3 teams actually picked the quarterback. So he said it was 3. But
exactly.
still, I like that.
I
I'm
loved it.
not gonna lie, I like it because
Yeah.
not only not only that he has the confidence, you've seen him play, so he looks like he plays like the type that can back it up. So
Yeah. I mean,
all he
Aaron
has
Rodgers did it.
yeah, all he has to do is put in the work. That's all he has to do.
Right.
So like I said, the rest of the picks, I've been looking over the internet. A lot of people have been giving this team a lot of praise as
Yeah.
far as what they did. I'm looking at the draft grade. It's like an A minus, A plus, B
Mhm.
plus. I don't know too much about anybody else outside of Rosen and the tight end, but they did pick up some needs that they needed. And I guess based on how many picks they had, I guess you can give it an A because they did not get any bad players.
No.
So I guess I can fall in suit with them because of the players they got with the little bit of picks they had. I
Hmm.
can see where that's going. What do you think?
No, I agree. An A is definitely fitting. They addressed all of their needs, and in a draft like this, where you might not necessarily have a crazy high pick with a no brainer guy sitting there, you address needs, in my opinion.
Right, right. And I think at the end of the day, that's what happened. And I can see where it's coming from because I don't, like I said, I don't know too much about them, about the players that they pick overall outside of the 2 I mentioned. But from what
Hmm.
I see, it look like they're headed in the right direction overall. Um, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make a team that actually I'm gonna talk about a team that I thought that was fairly interesting, and we could talk about our own personal teams.
Hmm.
Another team that actually really didn't that was interesting, but I did not like what they did overall was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know
Yeah.
it's still in the same division of the Ravens, but when I'm
Yeah.
looking at the Steelers, I don't like the picks that they had. I really don't like their picks, and for me,
Yeah.
to me, it's interesting to me because I want to see what happens going forward. But I honestly, I don't like the Mason Rudolph pick. I don't because it's going to
I'm underwhelmed
yeah.
looking at this.
Tremel Edmonds, he was 28 overall. He's an okay player. Jonathan Washington,
I don't
whatever.
know how you take James Washington at that spot.
That's it, James. That's it, Jonathan. Yeah, James Washington. I don't know either, so I'm like, okay. Um,
Then you take a quarterback.
yeah, that's it. Mason Rudolph. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. It's like, why? I'm not going to say you didn't need him, but I don't know. I
Here's
don't
a
know.
question.
Yeah, it.
I mean, okay. Uh,
I don't know why they picked him. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't know.
unless I'm misremembering. I don't even know if that's a word. Unless I'm not remembering correctly. Landry Jones played pretty well while Ben Roethlisberger was out. Did he not?
Yes, he sure did. He sure did.
So why are you drafting a quarterback
That's
in
what
the
I'm saying.
third round?
I don't know. It's like I don't know why would they pick a quarterback that high. I mean, I can see if you picked him in the 6th just for depth, 7th for depth. I get it.
Right.
Then you turn around and pick up another safety, Marcus Allen, and
He's not gonna play.
no, I don't see him playing either because I've heard of him and I don't think he's that good.
Then again, looking at their safeties, they really aren't all they're cracked up to be. So he might end
No, I
up.
mean it could be, but I mean you're already talking about a depleted secondary that wasn't that good to begin with, and they jump
Yep.
off and pick the players that they pick.
Yeah.
I don't like, I don't know, I don't know. And a lot of people are saying that Terrell Evans was a reach. Then
He was. Nah, he was. He was. He was a reach.
uh,
He was a reach. If you're gonna take a quarterback, just looking at their position in the draft, take Lamar Jackson
yeah, he's a. I'm
because
sorry.
Terrell Edmonds is a reach,
I'm sorry.
like people are saying. So
I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
I'm eating something right now. My bad. But
oh no, you good.
no, you're right because despite Lamar Jackson saying what he's saying and we know his abilities, he's still somewhat of a project.
Yep.
He's going to have to sit a year or a year and a half.
Exactly.
And why not sit behind somebody like Ben?
And then Landry Jones can take over, or they can compete for the job after Ben
Absolutely.
moves on, and you
Absolutely.
have your future intact because you figure AB is going to resign. Um, Le'Veon Bell, so they're going to franchise him if they haven't already, so that situation is going to be interesting.
Hold
But
on.
looking at the base of their team,
Hold on. Time out. Forget all
mm,
that. You mean to tell me they picked up Terrell Edmonds,
mhm,
a safety? They
yep,
already had two other safeties on their team
hmm
with Morgan Burnett and Sean Davis.
and I forgot they signed Morgan Burnett actually because that was an off-season signing.
No. But you mean to tell me they passed on Mike Hughes from UCF
Yep.
and they passed on Howard Landry?
hmm
No, I'm sorry. I hate to
and
say it.
not considering if Le'Veon Bell isn't just talking shit. If he does sit out next year, why don't you take uh Michelle or Chubb?
Man, let me tell you something. That would have made noise if they would have picked up Nick Chubb or
Yeah,
Sony Michelle. More of Nick Chubb. No, I'm sorry. More Sonny Michelle because Sonny Michelle can do exactly what Le'Veon Bell can do now. Le'Veon can
right.
catch out the backfield and he can run between the tackles. Sonny Michelle could do the same thing. That would have put Le'Veon Bell on notice. I totally understand that. But you tell me these are people that they could have had because Harold Landry's a damn good pass rusher.
hmm
Josh Jackson was a pretty good, they passed on Josh Jackson from Iowa as well.
I'm looking at this article here, which makes this pick even worse. Mason Rudolph is the Steelers' great Jimmy G experiment. Jesus Christ.
Listen, I hate to say it, but these dudes get an F. I'm not. You ain't even have to ask me. They get an F. I'm sorry, and I know there's some people that are Steeler fans and they love the Steelers or whatever. I know some people that love the Steelers, but this right here, this is bad. This was pretty bad.
The this
I
is
mean, it's hard to even damage control that. It's pretty bad. Unless
yeah.
unless Jalen Samuels, that running back, turn out to be something to actually help um Le'Veon Bell or put Le'Veon on notice, which I doubt.
Right.
Maybe they can go up to a D plus. This is actually looking at it. This is not good.
Because so I'm reading this article, and there's a lot of things that stick out to me, but the one that sticks out the most is fit, as far as the team is concerned. And I'm looking, and it just says, let's see, they're talking about the system fit, and he played at an up tempo offense because he played at a
Who we
what
talking
do you
about?
play at? Mason Rudolph, the quarterback that they claim is this Jimmy G experiment, apparently.
Pick your team who you want to who interests you to.
All right,
No,
they
no,
get
no,
enough.
no, no. We
They
did
get
that
enough.
already.
Put it that way.
Yeah,
They get
we
enough.
already did. We're going to talk about our personal teams. You want to talk about your Patriots first, or you want me to jump
Oh,
and talk about the
Jesus
Falcons?
Christ. Uh, man, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like the Patriots draft, though.
Okay, let me go back.
Which isn't new to me. Which isn't even new to me because these dudes. Well, I don't even say these dudes. Let's just be frank. Bill Belichick does this shit every year. So the first thing that sticks out to me is we take Isaiah Wynn, which is a question mark, or who is a question mark, I should say, to take him at the 23rd pick. I really don't think he's that good, and I don't think he's going to fit here. I also don't think he's
All right,
naturally a tackle.
look. I'm a Bulldogs fan, and Isaiah Wynn. I don't. It's not saying that he's a bad lineman. I just don't think he will fit what the Patriots trying to do.
No. No.
Because what Georgia did, Georgia had a run blocking. Georgia had a run blocking offensive line, and Isaiah Wynn
Exactly.
is a run blocking tackle.
Yep.
The Patriots don't run that kind of offense, so he may be lost. So I'm with you there.
Exactly.
I'm
Okay,
with you.
so then So then we take Sonny Michel when Lamar Jackson's sitting right there. We know Tom Brady only has 2 years left. I guess Brian Hoyer's going to take the reins. Who knows? I'm not the evil genius upstairs.
Well,
So
wait a minute. I know you say Lamar Jackson was sitting right there, and he got picked right after Sonny Michel.
hmm
This LSU Danny Etling pick could be a very good pick. I don't too much care.
he's not bad, but I
I
mean,
mean, we talking about LSU, and LSU has been falling off for the past 2 or 3 years. But for a kid like that, he's a decent student of the game. He can learn something, so that might pan out. You never know.
I've seen him play, but then even then, I'm looking at these other picks. We take a receiver that is a typical West Coast receiver, which is not something we need because our quarterback that runs this amazing West Coast offense is going to be gone in the next 1 or 2 years. So we need to evolve from that because there's only one guy that can run that system that well. We need to be going after big receivers. We didn't do that.
Well,
And we need to be going after the best available player in the Patriots situation because we shouldn't be so caught up in who is going to be able to play 6, 7 positions on our defense. We need to pick guys that play their specific position, fill that need for our team, and go on about our business. But he doesn't want to do that. So I'm looking at these picks here. Okay, we got Duke Dawson.
that's not a bad pick.
Yeah, but I've seen him get torched
Oh
a couple
yeah,
times
that's
last
true.
year.
He has, but I mean, it's not a bad pick. But I get what you're
At that
saying.
position, I can understand why they did it. Um, Lawan Bentley, he's a
But you know what?
linebacker.
Go back. That
Mm,
Duke Dawson pick could be a situation where they may got the best player available at that time.
yeah, but I'm
Thinking of
saying in
once you,
this first round, I think you need to do that, especially when you have two picks.
well, I agree. I agree. At least one of them should have been the best player available.
Well, and then on top of that, why you trading Jimmy Garoppolo for 2 second round picks and you trade them both away draft night?
Well, you know what happened between that situation.
Oh well, I have my own theory that we can get into another day about exactly what Bill Belichick is doing to the team. But pretty much, just to sum it all up, I give our draft a C minus, and the only reason why I give it a C minus is because I like Sonny Michel. If I didn't like Sonny Michel and hadn't seen him play, I wouldn't even give it a C minus. Probably be closer to a D
I
or D
I
minus.
I'm looking at it now. I'm a little different from you because I'm a Georgia guy. I do like Isaiah Wynn. If they do decide to run the ball more, he'll be excellent. I don't think he'll be that good pass rushing. Sonny
Wow.
Michel is the type of running back based on the running backs y'all have. Sonny Michel could possibly be the best running back, but I know
He already is. Yeah, he already is.
yeah. So, and I'm looking at everybody else. I'm looking at the linebackers that you pick.
I
Braxton,
just would have taken Chubb though.
yeah, yeah. Based on what you had already, you already got some receiving running
All
backs,
right,
so
we
Chubb
got
would have been
White.
nice.
We got
Yeah. Braxton Berrios out of Miami is a nice pick.
he's not bad.
I don't know how that's gonna play out, but
Yeah.
he's a good player. But I will give them a C plus because of Danny Etling. A lot of people may not know who he is, and I've seen him play. I mean, he's not all of that, but he's in a good situation. He has enough talent to be a decent quarterback if he's groomed right, and once Brady's out of the picture, he could do a little bit of damage. I'm not saying a lot. I'm not saying he's
No,
gonna be that.
I can see it.
Yeah,
I
I don't think he's gonna be
uh,
that franchise quarterback. I don't think he's gonna be the steal that everybody think that the Patriots do get from time to time. But I think getting him is a fairly decent, decent streamline for quarterbacks.
I mean, 16 touchdowns and 2 picks isn't bad last year. So
Yeah, especially for LSU. I mean, absolutely.
yeah, so I can see that.
Let's see. Let's go hit my team, which is the Atlanta
Yo,
Falcons.
I like what y'all did, man.
The first two picks just jumped out, was like wow, because the Falcons, for me, I had no idea that they would even go after a wide receiver based on what they already have. And I
hmm
know that, and I know they lost Taylor Gabriel. I know that, but still, we still had we had a couple of other receivers that just would be in the spot, and we were just like, okay, we'll go somewhere else.
hmm
Picking Calvin Ridley, possibly they picked the best receiver in the draft,
Yep.
and they got him at number 26 overall. That to me, honestly is probably the steal of the first round, possibly the steal of the draft. Because Calvin Ridley should have been the first receiver off the board easily.
I agree.
I don't care what anybody else say. I looked at these other receivers. Yes, some of them are bigger. Some of them are maybe can jump a little bit higher. But for the receiver that Calvin really is, he's not a small guy. He's like 6'1", 190. Perfect
Hmm.
size. He runs his routes. He's fast, and he catches with his hands. He don't catch with his arms or his chest. This right, I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna say this seriously. If Sarkeesian fucked this up, he needs to go. It ain't no. There's no excuses. I'm gonna tell you that drag route against the Eagles when it was on like the 3 yard line, and they should have won that game. They should have won that game. But you do a drag route with the fucking fullback.
Yeah,
Nah, see stuff like that.
he's
will- Yeah, stuff like that. You need to go back and do some high school or some pee wee football for that. And you were at that game when he did that end around at the 1 yard line.
oh, we were right there. Oh
Who
yeah.
does that? I mean, and the Falcons, and despite all that, the Falcons won 10 games, and they were the only team in the NFC to make it back to the playoffs, and they won a playoff game last year. So that just tells you how good this team really is. The Super Bowl when we played y'all Patriots, should have
Hmm.
won that game, but the problem with that is they just tired themselves out, and they did not run the ball. When you don't run
Hmm.
the ball, you can't keep your defense on the sideline. Your defense is not on the sideline. You got maybe four rookies and two guys that was 1 year guys. They're going to get tired. Tom Brady chops up veteran defenses. What the hell you think he's going to do against this defense? Not taking nothing away from the Patriots. Excellent team that year, still an excellent franchise, but that was one that got away, and this season was another season that got away. But like I said, with that pick alone, there's no excuses for Sarkeesian,
I agree.
I still got this feeling that he'll mess it up though, because based on what I know from last year, I got a feeling he will mess it up. But like I said, he's a great pick. Then we turn around and pick up Isaiah Oliver out of Colorado, number 58 overall. Now, Colorado, I don't know too much about this team or whatever, but I've watched some stuff on this guy a few days ago. Well, for the past few days, I've been watching. He's a very good cornerback. He's like 6'1", 213. He's a
Yeah,
big
he's not
cornerback.
bad.
He's not bad. So I was
Not
like,
bad
yo,
at all.
I was like, you got Trufant, you got Alford, and you can possibly, if Oliver's good enough, you can make him a number two. You can
Hmm.
put Alford in the slot, or vice versa. It'll work out. So I like that pick. Um,
I like this DT, even though he's a little bit
he's
undersized.
undersized. I do like that because it seems like they're trying to get a speedy pass rusher to play defensive tackle.
Hmm.
I'm interested to see how that's going to go. I don't know too much about this running back, Edo Smith.
Nah, I
They say he's very fast, but I mean he played at Southern Miss, so I haven't really watched him. Um, if Calvin Ridley don't pan out, this guy Russell Gage could possibly be another steal. Russell Gage from LSU is another good receiver. He's one of those. He's from one of that last breed of LSU receivers. Like you had
Hmm.
Landry and you had
Odell Beckham.
Odell Beckham Jr. And him and another guy from LSU. I think he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right.
Those two are like the last breed of that crop of receivers. So that could be a outstanding steals. And me personally, I think Gage might be more likely another slot guy, or more likely a special teams kickoff return guy.
Hmm.
So overall, I think thinking about all the needs that they needed, they really one thing about the Falcons, and much everybody want to talk about 28-3, and everybody want to talk about all the bad play calling.
Hmm.
Overall, this team is still one of the most talented teams in the NFL, if not top three, maybe top two. Because they really didn't need it. They really didn't have any needs. Yeah, we could talk about Dontari Poe, but Dontari Poe really didn't do much for the Falcons last year.
Nah.
So when you look at this team, I think really, I think they did pretty good. I'll give them a B plus, because I mean, I can't give them an A because of, if anything, I think they could have done better with getting some guys for the offensive line, because
Yeah.
they still have not gotten anybody for Chris Chester retiring. And on top of that, I think they could have done a little bit better with I think they could have done a little bit better with probably addressing, I hate to say this, but they could have done better addressing the fullback position, or definitely a tight end. They really could have tried to do something with tight end, and they did not do anything with that. But
Yeah.
because that I like Austin Hooper, but he disappeared last year. So I'll give him a B plus. I think they did pretty good. What are your thoughts?
Nah, I like the Calvin Ridley pickup. I think that's just gonna make a dangerous offense even more dangerous if Sarkeesian can get his head out of his ass.
Yeah, man, you took the words right out of my mouth. You said
Yeah,
that right. I mean, this dude, the play calling is fucking horrible.
yeah. I don't get what he's doing sometimes.
I mean, you can literally see what play they're about to run before they run it. It was just that bad. But yeah, NFL draft. That's what it was. We got some teams that we talked about that was interesting, and we talked about our own teams, and I'm gonna let you jump into the NBA playoffs. I know you may not have much to talk about because not necessarily everything's going as planned, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna put it in my own words real quick and not to elaborate.
Mm.
NBA playoffs is very interesting. I mean, it's
Yeah,
very fun to watch, and I'm not talking about interesting thinking about what I think is going to happen. It's interesting to say what is happening. That's what makes it just
yeah.
makes it awesome that way. So, what are your thoughts about the NBA playoffs overall so far?
Um. So, couple things. The first thing is Jesus Christ. This dude Russell Westbrook really knows how to destroy
Oh my God! You threw
team morale and
you threw a curveball right there, but I didn't think you was gonna go there first. But oh my
nah,
God!
yeah, that was when I think NBA playoffs this year. That's like the first thing in my head. It's like I give a whole lot of the blame to him, but then on the other hand, it's like I give most of the blame to Billy Donovan because you got a situation where your star player is
Out of control.
out of control. He's taking 43 shots in elimination games. He's taking more three-pointers than your second best player took shots. Ugh. I just you knew where everybody was going to be, when they were going to be there on offense. The sets were predictable. Your lineups were horrible. Just I can't say enough about how bad Billy Donovan is. But Russell Westbrook, as the best player on the team, that seems like they police themselves. He didn't do a good job at integrating Carmelo Anthony, and
Absolutely not. You're right about that.
it's just
For a
yeah,
guy who's averaging triple doubles and getting all these assists, he sure did not set him up at all.
yeah. It's like, how can you expect everybody's getting on Carmelo, but how can you expect a player who has had the ball in his hands most of his career on the in the high post or on the block? How can you expect that guy to all of a sudden flourish at being a spot up shooter?
You
That's just
can't.
not
You can't.
that's not how basketball works. It's just not. You can see it when you go to the gym, to the Y, and you see people playing together on the same team that don't fit. That player could have a good game the game before that with completely different teammates, and when he goes and plays with somebody else, he could look like a completely different player.
And
It's
that's
all about who you're playing with.
that could be Carmelo's situation.
Yeah.
That could be a situation because he's just not. I'm here to say that I don't think he's a good fit for that team.
I don't think he is either, and I honestly didn't think PG really was either. I don't think too many perimeter players are a good fit with Russell Westbrook.
I think PG did a good job playing his
Really good
role.
job.
He did a good job playing his role, even though he had moments where he disappeared.
Yeah.
He played his role fairly well, but I hate to say it, man. Russell Westbrook is really giving credence to what everybody was saying about him when KD was there.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like,
And I don't want to believe that, and I never wanted to believe that because I thought them two played well together. But there were times where what you saw with Russell Westbrook this past week is exactly what you saw when KD was there.
well, that's the thing. You like, I always look at things from a broad perspective, and then I start looking at the details after the fact. And
Right.
from a broad perspective, you can look at OKC and tell that they had success and went far in the playoffs. But when you look at the details of it, the only time they really played well together is literally when KD and Westbrook both had matchups they could exploit and work off of each other and both get numbers. If there
No,
was
what
any
did you what did,
situation where they had to
what did you
defer,
say? What did you say the second time when they played off each other?
yeah,
That I mean
and
that
that's the thing
yep.
is the only time where they had issues was when they were facing a team that were just better than them. Because then one guy had to exploit a matchup and the other guy had to play second fiddle. They don't
And
like that.
yeah, and I mean, and I can't even say it. Kevin Durant is too good of a player to play second fiddle,
Mm-hmm.
and Russell Westbrook, he has the heart not to play second fiddle.
Yep.
He's too headstrong to play second fiddle. That's why at the end of the day, they're they just didn't work out when it came to the playoffs. Because when
Right.
playoff time comes, team basketball is essential.
Yeah.
And let's say, for instance, um, when they had Golden State on the ropes, it
Mm-hmm.
got to the point where they couldn't finish the job by working together. It just felt like, okay, if Draymond's going to play on KD, Russell going to do this, and Russell's just going to do this and do this and do this and do this. And it's like, no, you can't do that, or vice versa. If Steph or Clay jump on Westbrook, KD got to do this, do this, do this. Now, I will admit, KD is a little more efficient than Russell, but at the same time, that affects Russell so much that KD cannot continue to stay in a rhythm because they both need to be the number one guy.
Well, I would say the issue that I saw was when it came down to the game getting close, Russell Westbrook was taking some stupid shots.
Exactly.
KD wasn't getting touches. And when KD wasn't getting touches, he got in his head, I'm sure, like, oh, we're back to this shit again? We're back to this power struggle of whose team is it? When we're beating these dudes, we have them on the ropes. And I can look at Westbrook and say that I think most of the reason why they lost that Warriors series was because he played so inefficiently in those last 2 or 3 games to the point where KD got disinterested.
Man, you got to think about it like this too, man. When James Harden left, that I can tell when James Harden left, that whole shift of what we're talking about right now just took a life of his own.
He was
Because,
the gray area.
but not only that though, but when he was there, Westbrook didn't do everything that he's doing now.
Yeah, because he was the gray area. He was the balance.
Right.
Neither of them could dominate the ball when he was on the court because they all had to play together, and they all were good enough to play together because they realized that all of their talents combined would beat 90% of the teams in the NBA.
Right.
The reason,
I mean,
yeah,
they had. I mean, you're looking at a situation where the fact that was their first time at the finals when they lost to LeBron, you could make a case where they could have came back next year and had a very good chance of winning the next time around. I mean, if everybody would have stayed intact, because you got to think about it.
yeah,
The second time when LeBron won that title, you had, you know, you still had Bosh, but you had Wade. Wade was deteriorating. He wasn't the same Wade as he was the
well,
first time they were there. That would have been an easy exploit, but I don't blame James Harden. He went to go get that money, and look at him now. I had no idea that James Harden would be as good as he is now.
wow.
And on top of that, 2 years ago he didn't have no defense. He plays a little bit good defense now.
Well, I blame Oklahoma City for not wanting to pay him. They picked Serge Ibaka, and now Serge Ibaka
I
ain't even
agree.
there.
I agree. I agree. I totally
Yeah.
that mess that possibly set that team back It set them back to where they are now. It possibly set them back another 2, 3 years as well.
Yeah, as soon as they chose Serge Ibaka, he started chucking up jump shots. He wasn't blocking shots
All they
anymore.
needed to do is pay James Harden, just get a couple of big bodies just to go in the paint.
Hmm.
That's all they needed. They don't need those big bodies to score. All they need to just go down there and just cause ruckus, cause chaos, and those three would have been fine.
And
But
that's the thing. Like, okay, when you look at OKC's team a couple years ago, Jesus Christ, they had talent between Reggie Jackson coming off their bench, James Harden coming off their bench. You got two bona fide scorers coming off. Reggie Jackson's not really bona fide. You can put the ball in the basket, though. But you got James Harden, who's a bona fide scorer and ball handler, and he can create for others. Reggie Jackson can create for others. Then you got Russell Westbrook and KD running the show for the starters. Like, they had a hell of a team.
yeah,
But when you have egos come into play, and you have a team on the ropes, and you think they're done, and you start playing selfish basketball to get your numbers, that's when shit goes haywire. And shit went haywire for OKC. Because then it became, okay, this team is as good as we thought. We're
yeah.
beating them, but they're not these pushovers that we thought they were just because we beat them down a couple of these games. Because then Golden State started hitting shots, and OKC's defense started to break down. Russell Westbrook was taking contested threes. KD was sitting over in the corner doing nothing because Russell Westbrook was taking stupid
And,
shots.
and then on top
He
of
got
that,
disinterested.
and then when it got to the point where they actually had to do something, it was like KD had to try to make something out of nothing when it was crunch time or
Yeah,
when it was panic mode, when it's like last 10 seconds or not 10 seconds, like 30 seconds left in the game. Now you want to try to give him the ball and you wonder, well, KD blew the game. Well, hell,
right,
5 minutes of the fourth quarter, we saw, Russell just jacking up shots.
right. Well, KD's not scoring in the fourth quarter. Well, I mean, if your point guard's telling you go in the corner and stand there,
Right.
and you're the best player on the team, most efficient, the dude that's the MVP, of course you're gonna be feeling some type of way.
It's crazy. I don't get it. But I mean, I know Westbrook is the biggest disappointment. Westbrook in OKC is probably the biggest disappointment of the playoffs. Um,
Yeah.
what other team that you're looking at right now? Because I'm looking at the Rockets. They're looking good. The Warriors, and I'm actually surprised at Cleveland playing the way they're playing as well.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the Jazz are gonna win the series,
Stop it.
dude. I'm telling you, the Jazz are gonna. I feel like the Jazz match up well against them.
Man, I like that Donovan Mitchell kid. I
That's
really,
what
I
I'm
really,
saying.
I really like that guy. I didn't know who he was until the playoffs come. I was like, who is this kid? 'Cause when the game started, I'm just sitting back. I'm up here just, I'm playing the game on one TV,
Yeah.
and I got the playoffs on another TV, and I just see this kid laying up, dunking, and shooting in the first 5 minutes. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
who the hell is this kid?
Yep.
And I never heard of him, and everybody was telling me like, oh, he's a rookie, should be rookie of the year, and this, that, and the third. I was like, I've never known the entire NBA season. I did not know who this guy was.
Well, see, the Jazz are a fundamentally sound team that don't have that many crazy good athletes other than Donovan Mitchell, and they have a good bench, a deep bench. Everybody shares the ball. They play great defense, and they have a good coach.
They have a chance to beat the Rockets. I agree. They might be 1 year away.
The only reason I think they're gonna do it is because I think they'll steal this game tonight, and Houston is hit or miss when they're not hitting shots.
Well, they're hit or miss on the road as well. So
Yeah, well, you got James Harden. James Harden, that's my nickname for him. James Harden frauding up like he does in the playoffs, like he tends to do. Then you are in a situation where you could get upset, and then that makes the trip to the finals a bit easier for Golden State. But I'm not even going to sit and act like Golden State would smoke Utah.
well, listen, whoever that GM is, he deserves the GM of the year. Whoever that coach is, they get
Oh,
coach
hell
of the
yeah.
year. They get all the accolades. That team came out of nowhere. They got rid of ISO Joe. They moved a couple other players around.
They
And,
got Ricky Rubio, which
they-
everybody questioned.
everybody questioned Ricky Rubio, and you couldn't tell me he wasn't balling last series. That dude was
Exactly.
balling.
Exactly.
So I'm actually
Rudy
impressed.
Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and that's one thing I knew he always had it in him, but it's good to see him actually show it now. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Derek Favors healthy, Alec Burks healthy, Dante Exum healthy,
Yeah, it's a pretty good team over there in Utah. I can't lie. I mean, they're
and Joe Ingles. Jesus Christ.
they're way more entertaining to watch than Malone and Stockton, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were boring.
I like Stockton though. I used to love watching John Stockton. I used to love that guy.
Yeah,
I,
John Stockton was cool. Carmelo was a
Yeah,
piece of shit.
yeah.
Fuck,
Anyway, yeah, I
fuck that
agree.
guy.
I agree. I can't stand them either way. What about these Celtics, man? No Kyrie, no Jalen Brown, no
Brad Stevens.
yeah, you got no Gordon Hayward, and
Terry Rozier showing out.
yeah. I mean, look, this dude, like you said, Brad Stevens, man, this dude is coaching pretty good, and then I was like, he could make a case of coach of the year too, based on everybody
I
who he
think he is
lost.
coach of the year.
Based on
Because when
everybody
you
he
look
lost.
at it, you had your second best player, who might have been your first best player this year, get injured in the first 3 minutes of your season, and you bring along rookies and second year guys that haven't really proven much.
And then Kyrie only played 3/4 of the season. He's down for the last, 30, 40 games or 30,
Yep.
35 games.
Marcus Smart gets hurt.
Yeah, and you still win 55 games with that team.
Yeah.
You still win 55 games. So it's like, yeah, if it ain't the Jazz, it's Brad Stevens. If it ain't the Jazz coach, it's Brad Stevens. I totally agree with
Oh
that.
yeah. He's the way he pretty much doesn't even pay attention to position as far as who's a three, who's a four. All these guys have been coached to guard these positions, and I mean, when he puts out these lineups that are either big lineups or small lineups, they give teams problems because they're going to give maximum effort every night on the defensive end. And once Hayward comes back, who are you going to check? Like, how are you going to be able to check that team?
Look, man, listen. You are on to something, my friend. This is why you a co-host of this podcast. At the moment of this recording, the Jazz are up on the Rockets 56-37 in the second quarter.
Hey,
56-37 in the second quarter. And you said the Jazz might win this series. Look, you might be right, man. You might be right, because they I ain't gonna lie, they kind of got showed up in game one.
yeah.
But see, this
they
goes
did.
back to what I'm saying. I don't know these dudes that's running the Jazz organization.
Yeah.
God damn it, these dudes deserve some type of award.
They've slowly been building, and they weren't one of those teams like the Sixers. I have no issue with the Sixers, but they weren't one of those teams like the Sixers that intentionally tank.
I don't have a
And-
problem. I don't have a problem with the Sixers playing on the court. I don't have a problem with the players
Right.
of the Sixers.
Exactly.
That front office, I'm sorry, they're a disgrace.
They are.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
And it's pretty clear that they were doing it too. People can debate all they want and say there's no way you can prove it. I'm sorry. When you draft Michael Carter Williams and trade him 2 years later and he's your best player, you trade Thaddeus Young, you trade Andre Iguodala, you fire any coach that really wants to win or do anything to bring a winning mentality.
They deliberately wanted to tank for like nearly 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to do so. These Sixers fans, and I know I might catch hell behind it. They want to say, "Oh, you hating or whatever." No,
it's not hating.
it is what it is. You don't run an organization this way. I'm sorry. Yes, we're seeing the fruits of their labor now, but if I was a fan, that type of stuff will make me want to find another team. And I know that's your hometown team. You should be loyal. Fuck that. That's my team. I want them to try every night. I don't want to be trusting no process. Give me your all every night. Win, lose, or draw. Because at the end of the day, I can sit here and say, you know what? My team tried. Win, lose,
Just
or
think
draw.
about this. So, the Sixers, in consecutive years, they drafted Joel Embiid, Nerlens Noel, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz.
And was it before that or somewhere around that time they got Jahlil Okafor too?
Okafor, Dario Saric, who didn't even come over here to play until a couple years ago.
Right.
All those are top 3 picks, people. This is not hating. Look at how they did it. They traded away Andre Iguodala, Thaddeus Young, Michael Carter Williams. You know, people who wanted to win, people who got them to the playoffs.
And honestly, Michael Carter Williams wasn't a bad player at the time.
But
Now,
that's what I'm
but
saying. They traded
now it
away
can,
anybody who wanted to win or play winning basketball or anybody that wanted to play hard every night. They got rid of him. Lou Williams, gone.
and I like that guy.
And they got a bunch of young players or bad players on their team. They put one of the worst products I've ever seen on the court every night. And now all of a sudden everybody's healthy, so it's, oh yeah, look at us, we're good now. Well, shit, you should be.
Oh yeah,
You have five number one picks in a row. Jaleel Okafor didn't even want to hold the jersey up. Motherfucker dropped it on the floor after they finished taking the pictures. He's like, are you serious?
Yo, you should have seen the look Joel Embiid did when he got picked.
Bro, come on, man. So it's like, I can't respect it. I like the players. I don't like the franchise.
I like the players. I like the product on the court. I like all of that. I mean, I'm not saying to me, honestly, I don't wish that they lose. But
No.
I just don't. If they win, great. That's a good thing because you like to see a team that actually play their butt off, which those players are doing on that court, play their butt off, and they get the rewards for playing their butt off.
Yep.
But at the same time, I don't condone the bullshit they did just to get there. I don't condone that.
I mean, look at what the Lakers are doing. They're heading in the same direction.
Yeah, but they're headed the same direction. I don't think they're actually trying to tank. I honestly believe Magic Johnson is trying to put something out there.
This is how you know. This is how I know that they're tanking. This is obviously not something I can prove, but this is a direct indication when a team is tanking. If they don't fire the coach after winning single-digit games, which the Sixers didn't do, they got a coach. He was losing games, and they continued to say, look, it's not the coach's fault, it's not the coach's fault. All while they trade players all over the place. I think you're tanking. Because any other coach or any other organization who was serious about winning would have fired Brett Brown by now. And it's not Brett Brown's fault.
They said they set the coach up to fail.
Right. So in a results-based sport, when we see so many coaches get fired that are undeserving,
or some that are deserving to keep their job and they get fired, or that's
exactly
what you said. Yeah, the same thing. You just said a different way. Yeah.
Right. So it's like Brett Brown didn't deserve to get fired, but when you look at people who are put in situations that they shouldn't be in, they get fired. Brett Brown not getting fired, I think, is another indication that they were tanking because they didn't care about having single-digit wins.
Yeah, they knew what was in college.
Right.
They knew the players in college. Like, you know what? We need to put ourselves in a position to get them, not necessarily win games. And yeah, I totally agree with that.
And look who the president of basketball operations is. Freaking Colangelo.
Oh goodness.
Who is one of the best scouts in the world.
But
just look at every freaking Olympic team we put together year to year, and the juniors too.
Yeah, you're right.
So when you look at all that, it's nowhere near as bad as the Lakers. I can agree with that.
Yeah, no excuse. I mean, I like what the Lakers are doing. Honestly, I like the picks that they had. I like what they did when they traded those players off because some of those players, even though Nance and Clarkson, they're good players. It's just that they didn't fit the movement they were trying to do with Lonzo Ball and with Julius Randle and oh goodness, what's his name? Number 14. Oh, I can't remember his name.
It's 14.
He's number 14 for the Lakers.
Shit.
Ingram?
Yeah, Brandon
Ingram, yeah. I like what they're doing over there, so I don't think they're necessarily tanking. You got to understand with the Lakers, they're just coming off of a situation where they lost Kobe Bryant and they lost Paul Gasol. They lost a lot of players within the last 5-6 years. The rebuilding process, a real rebuilding process. This is how that's how that happens.
Yeah, looking at them trading away people like D'Angelo Russell brings up a bit of a red flag.
Well,
and once again, Luke Walton,
but we know why they did that. They wanted Lonzo
he's a
Ball.
Snitch.
They wanted Lonzo Ball, and he kind of stepped in it. So, but don't get me wrong. D'Angelo is good now. He's a good baller now.
Oh yeah.
He's way better than I thought he'd be. He's pretty good, but
But just looking at the players they traded away based on what the team used to look like, it just seems like they're
you
not tanking so much to hit
you
a
can make
home run in the draft, but they're tanking to
you
hit a
can make
home run in free agency.
you can make a case for that, and that is
Yeah.
very valid. I totally agree with that.
And when you look at Luke Walton, who has no danger for his job, and like I said, I think
But
he's
you
a
know
really
what?
good coach.
But you know what though?
Hmm.
Is that necessary? It could look at it this way, but is that necessarily wrong if you're taking to get better free agents compared to just tanking
Oh, for the draft, yeah,
yeah?
that's
Because if you're
yeah. I
tanking
think
for
there's one that's way worse than the other. I can agree with that.
because if you're tanking for the draft, you're tanking for the unknown. If you're tanking for a Paul George, I'm not really mad at that as much because
Right.
we know what you're trying to do, and it's like to tank for free agency. That doesn't necessarily mean you're just trying to lose games. You're just
Well,
trying to
see, yeah, because that's the thing is,
yeah, you're just trying to clear up cap
yeah,
space.
Philly was trying to lose games,
Right.
like intentionally trying. They traded away people. They traded away an entire team that won.
Right. And you know what I'm saying? You're losing games compared to just trying to open up cap space.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
That goes in every in the NBA and in the NFL.
NFL
You
too.
do
I
that.
can feel you on that.
You know, compared to us saying, "Oh, we're a good team, but we're going to do a Cleveland Browns and get the first pick in the draft." No, we don't know. That's
That shit was wild.
yeah,
They did this crazy rebuild. I'm like,
yeah, but I
bro,
mean, if you're just like saying, "Okay, we're going to get rid of this high price cornerback that cost us 20, or I ain't gonna say 20, cost us 15 million a year.
wait a minute. Hold on.
We're gonna get rid of him to get a quarterback in free
Hold on, though.
agency."
Didn't those clowns went and trade for fucking Andrew Bennett too? Anthony Bennett?
Who
Man, them niggas are tanking, yo.
who traded for Anthony Bennett?
The Sixers.
All right, what you think oh God, what do you think the Raptors gonna do, man? I'm not even gonna go there. that dude, that dude is what the Raptors gonna do, man? They got
They're
their
frauds.
yeah,
They're frauds.
they got their heart ripped out of them last night, man.
There's no reason why a game one against a team like Cleveland who really couldn't have confidence coming from that game, that last game they played, like there's no way you lose that game when you're home.
I'm gonna tell you this, and you know how I feel. You know I'm a Jordan guy. You know that. And it's not a knock against LeBron.
Right.
Jordan's the guy that got me into watching basketball. He gave me a big impression when I first started watching basketball. It's not no I'm a bandwagon dude.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 8, 9 years old and I used to watch Jordan. I loved that watching him,
Hmm.
but this Cavaliers team has no business being in the playoffs and playing the way they are. But that just goes to show you how great LeBron James is. And I have to admit that. I take nothing. I never took anything away from LeBron. Yes, I know there are some knocks on his legacy, and for me being a Jordan guy, I can easily nitpick at that. But I won't because I'm not going to. I'm just not that kind of person to do that to a person as great of a basketball player LeBron James is. He's a very good basketball player. But these Raptors, man, my God, I would not be surprised if they get swept.
I'm thinking about the history of
This game one obliterated the Raptors' morale. I would not be surprised if they get swept.
I'm thinking about the recent history, like in this Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan era, and all I can think about is they lose to every team that LeBron's on. They get home court advantage and lose at home in the playoffs so much.
This team is loaded, man.
Yeah.
This team is loaded. I'm not saying loaded like
Golden State, right?
State or
Not there, yeah.
No, they're not. But they have all the pieces there. I could. You can even make the case they have all the pieces to win a championship.
Yeah.
You can make a case for them because they're not a bad team. If you look at what they got on their roster, and you look at what you can even look at OKC what they got. You look at what Golden State got. matchup for matchup on the court, they match up very well with these
They check the
teams.
box in every category from
Exactly.
rim protection to go-to scorer to point guard that
Up
distributes to
they
the
they
bench.
they go up against Utah. They can go up against the Rockets. They can go up against
Everybody.
they can go up against any team right now.
Every,
It's just that for some reason, when LeBron's on the court, they just cannot get it done. And that's
hey, think
like
about last series. Look at Washington. What kind of confidence did Washington have coming into the playoffs? Washington took them 7 games.
I didn't even think about that. What the hell is going on up there in Toronto? Look, the Wizards had
None.
no business even taking them to 7 games at
They
all.
have two. They have 2 players.
Yeah, 1.5 actually. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I like John Wall, but John Wall is not already cracked up to be. Now Bradley Beal, I like Bradley Beal. I like his game. He's solid, and I'm not necessarily saying that he's better than John Wall, but based on what I've seen with John Wall need to get a jump shot. And I don't know if he,
That's been festering for a while.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he lost it or whatever the case may be, but he needed a jump shot because it's gone. Bradley Beal is more of a complete player. And I like Bradley, but they had no business taking the Raptors the way they took them. I don't know, man. Like I said,
They're frauds, man. It's okay. There are certain teams in the history of sports that have a reputation of squandering opportunities to pretty much take advantage of what they earned all season. Like, they'll play well during the regular season, then they get to the playoffs and it's like they're an accident waiting to happen. For example, the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
The San Diego Chargers every year would have Philip Rivers throwing for 4,000 yards, LT rushing for 28 touchdowns. You got Sean Merriman on defense, all this, and then they'd get to the playoffs and they'd have a home game and they would lose.
Yeah,
and they would always be the favorites.
That sounds about right, and the perfect analogy between the two teams. I mean, I don't know, man. I feel so bad for the Raptors because they had that game. They were up like at the most 17 at one time or something like that.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, do you let the game go into overtime? And then it's not only the fact that they let the game go into overtime, is how they could not make that one bucket left in regulation. I think Valanciunas had the ball like 25 times and he couldn't make a layup.
Let's talk about Kyle Lowry.
And not only that, you know what, Kyle Lowry, that jacked up shot he drew. You know what? That was a perfect impression of Russell Westbrook.
Fucking Kyle Lowry. Let me tell you what Kyle Lowry is. Kyle Lowry is that player at the gym that plays well against every single team until there's one team that gets put together where he actually has to play against a player that is equal to his skill, and he disappears. In this series, they're finally playing a team, as they always run into, that A, isn't afraid of them having home court advantage, and B, has a player that is in everybody's head on that team. Kyle Lowry disappeared in that final 5 minutes. He took 3 dumb shots. He had 3 turnovers. He called a timeout he had no business calling just because he had to pick the ball up.
And you know what? I also blame the coach because Kyle Lowry is like 6 foot, 6'1".
Oh God! And then the inbound with the 5 second. I didn't even remember.
Why would you have him inbound the ball? And he's one of your scorers. Why is he inbounding the ball?
I give credit to the Toronto franchise, and I'll tell you why. The Toronto Raptors franchise has not fired Dwayne Casey after all of these shortcomings in the playoffs, and I think they know why these shortcomings are happening, and that's why they're not firing him. I think they know that it's because of the players.
I was just about to ask you that. Do you think it's a coaching issue, or do you think it's the players?
Definitely the players.
Because I think Dwayne Casey's a pretty good coach.
It's definitely the players. Because DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, every year, they show that they are not built for primetime in the playoffs. It's sad to say because I really like DeMar DeRozan.
I like the team. The team is actually pretty good. Then when they got Serge Ibaka, I was like, you know what? They can go at least to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You know
when they got him.
There's one thing I can knock Dwayne Casey for.
What's that?
And that's not playing Norman Powell last night. Because Norman Powell at one point was one of the best players off the bench, and now he can't seem to get a spot in the rotation, and he's one of their best defenders, and he can put the ball in the basket. So that is the one thing that I can go at Dwayne Casey for. Other than that, I can't find a reason to fault him. I think there has to come a point where the players get the job done. It's kind of like Washington. Look at what Washington happened in Washington.
Yeah, yeah.
You got rid of Randy Whitman. You blamed him. John Wall and Beal are still there. Now Scott Brooks is there. The same shit happens. John Wall and Beal are still there. Now they're talking about fire Scott Brooks. At what point does it become...
It's the players' problem.
It's the players.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I totally agree with that.
And everybody has heard us talk during this podcast about Sarkisian. So we're balanced as far as blaming players and blaming coaches.
I'm not even going to get back to Sarkisian. I know one thing, though. He better start calling the right plays. I know that. We'll send his ass down there to goddamn William Bright Stadium, and he can go coach these damn Gamecocks down there. He can damn coach these damn chickens with them bullshit ass play calling. That's what he could do. Falcon's a real bird.
Oh, Jesus
Falcons
Christ.
is a real bird. The Gamecocks chickens. You put chickens in the frying pan. You ain't got time for that. Chickens go in the frying pan. They don't play football.
Oh my God.
I don't have nothing else to say about these playoffs. The Pelicans probably gonna get swept.
Oh man.
I hate to see that.
No. The last thing I will ask you.
What's that?
Is, do you think if the Warriors make it to the finals, there is any team that could beat them? Any conceivable way?
They make it to the NBA finals?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Whoever goes up against them in the finals, they may be lucky to get one game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
honest. It would
honest.
take a Herculean effort.
Yeah, they
from
may get
anybody.
one game. And I like LeBron and everything, but the way that he's been playing against I ain't gonna say what he's been playing, the way his team's been playing against the team like the Pacers and
his usage rate has been absolutely ridiculous this playoffs. If he has any energy left for the finals, I don't see it, man. He'd have to average 45 to 50, and they probably let him do it.
No, if he's gonna, I'll say this: if they play the Golden State Warriors, for them to get 2 games, for Cleveland to win 2 games of that series, LeBron's going to have to average at least 50.
And they'd have to steal one at home on the road.
On the road to get 2
and
games,
one of the first
not to win the series, but just to get 2
We're not
games.
even talking about that.
Yeah, just to get 2, and it sucks because it's just like. And I hate to say this, and a lot of people may not look at it this way, but LeBron deserves better from his teammates. Yes, they won this game in overtime. Yes, they won They won a 7-game series, which it honestly probably shouldn't have went to 7 games, but they did win that game. But I mean, you're not about to sit there. Yeah, he got some help this past game because had a couple players in double digits. But you're not about to sit there and tell me that his teammates actually are the ones that's the reason why they're winning these games. That's absolutely
Man,
not
I
true.
got to see LeBron play under a great coach.
You would love to see that, right? Because he never really had one. I mean, Mike Woodson was
It's like
was it
the
Mike
inmates
Woodson?
running the asylum, man.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was back before he left the first time. I think
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown, not Mike Woodson.
The only one he had was Paul Silas, and that was for a year. Then he fired him.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it's like at this point, does he go to San Antonio? I don't say they're rebuilding, but shit, now they got that situation with Kawhi. We got to talk about that on another podcast.
Oh yeah. Because we got to see how that plays out. But I was put like I'm expecting him to possibly leave, and that's not like possibly like maybe. I'm like,
well, they're gonna have to trade him. He's still under contract, so
it's
gonna be interesting to see who they trade him to because, man. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, and it sucks because the Spurs are a great organization. You never associate them with something like this. But
yeah.
Well, all right, we're gonna jump into that one topic we was talking about. I'm not gonna get into it. About the we're not. I don't want to talk about them. I'm good. We're gonna talk about these football games that's possibly coming back into the. Well, I ain't gonna say coming back. But
oh yes.
More football games coming into the fold. I've watched some footage of the Axis football. I did watch some footage, and it's supposed to be coming into PS4 and Xbox One.
Hmm?
Shout out to Danny, man. Danny, when a lot of people, and shout out to Dollar Jr. too, a lot of
Yes.
people who did not give this game a chance. Don't
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say don't buy the game, but don't act like you was here now.
When you talk about day ones, Dollar Junior is a day one access.
Die hard day one. Dollar Junior is a diehard day one of Axis football, and
Absolutely.
I was probably like day three because he told me about it, and I was like, I don't care to play Axis. This was Axis 18, but we're talking about back when it was Axis 15.
Yep.
Was it 15 or no? It was just Axis football at the time.
Yeah. And then
And I was
15.
like, I don't too much care for the game because of the way it looks, and I didn't knock it because you got to start somewhere. But I said, you know what? I'll buy a copy. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you, I probably played like 30 minutes of the game, but I bought a copy so I could support. When
Yep.
15 came out, I got a free copy of it. I gave that copy away, but I ended up buying 15. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought 16, 17, whatever the case. I bought every copy just to, support. And now look at this. These guys about to be on consoles. And I'm not I have mixed feelings about it. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
overall, I don't have the desire to pick them up and play. I mean, but that's a whole different issue when it comes to sports games in general.
Right.
But when we look at this, it's like I don't know how it's going to be perceived because it's unlicensed. Yes, you can customize, but
Mm-hmm.
it's unlicensed, and I'm not saying it got a bad rep from the
Mm-hmm.
people in the community. It's just that nobody took this game serious. But I did look at some of the footage of this new game, and it looks pretty good. What's your thoughts about it?
I saw the one clip, and I think it was Sports Gamers online video, and I liked the way it looked. Obviously, I didn't really have instant replay to go in and break it down. I'm not going to break down clips, but to see how far they've come is definitely encouraging. And I mean, also you got to think about the fact they don't have to deal with suits from up top telling them what they can and cannot put in the game. They're literally here for us as sim gamers.
And that's one thing that I always respected Danny for, because I remember when Access Football first started, and when something was wrong with the game, and this is one thing I always liked about PC gaming in general. When something's wrong with the game, you have a direct line with the people who made the game. People
Yep.
talk about having a direct line with the devs or whatever, but you have a direct line, and it was like instant. You can go on the forums on Steam and say, "Look, there's a bug in this game." And with Danny, got to give him credit. I've seen him fix bugs in the game within 5 minutes of you saying something was wrong with the game. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot beat that compared to Madden. I'm not knocking Madden because Madden's a big conglomerate, and you
Mm-hmm.
have all these people as overhead. You would love to have that type of situation where when things could be addressed on the fly like that, and you don't have to wait weeks for a patch. You don't have to worry about
Definitely.
a patch being implemented. Now, with this game going to PS4 and Xbox One, will that be the case? Will you have to wait for a patch for Access Football?
Right.
That's the trade off that you have when it comes to consoles. But I like what I see. I don't know. Like I said, I I have a reserve for sports games now, and
Mm-hmm.
like I said, that could be another topic. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't root for them, but it's just my time and my patience, and I'm looking at like what we just talked about, patches and updates and the communities and all this other stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
makes me want to fall back and be like, you know what? I don't want to deal with it. And I play my old games that's on these old consoles. I don't have to worry about a patch. I don't have to worry about nobody messing with my game. I can stay offline. I don't have to deal with nobody.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about nobody cheesing. I customize the game to a certain difficulty. I'm good. But everybody's not like me. And for people to get an alternative for their football gaming is phenomenal. It's been a long time coming, and I hope this won't be a situation where it'd be like backbreaker where you get one game and it never picks up off of it and you never hear from it again.
Yeah, we definitely need these games around because these games, I mean, just look at, for example, and these are two games that are under the same hood. The same company is making the game, and there's still a rivalry. Fortnite and PUBG.
Yeah.
When you have two games that are going against each other to be better, to win the battle of which game is better and put out the best game in that particular genre, when you have competition like that, it pushes the two games to do their best every year instead of holding things back until the next year or the next year or the next year. Because so many times with these sports games, you get these incremental changes and you kind of have to hope that they fix something or add something, and it sucks.
And then there's nothing to take away from Madden 18 or NBA 2K18 or NHL or any of these. These are phenomenal sports titles. I'm not taking nothing away from them. You can have fun playing Madden. Yes, there are going to be issues. What game's not perfect? They're going to have things. The problem with me, Bills, and I guess we could jump into it a little bit before we talk about the other football game.
Hmm.
These games look very well. These games look beautiful, but
Hmm.
it's just so much go on put into these games. It will jack up something that was working at one point. Like
Yep.
it takes away from, okay, it's playing like football now, but you have a group of people that may have an issue or there's a bug that wasn't fixed. It throws
Hmm.
everything off, and it's not just Madden. It does it.
No, it's
It
not.
does it with 2K. I've seen
Yep.
it done. I've seen it. I've heard that it was done with Live, and it's
Yeah.
just, it's disheartening because I remember, and I'm from the old school, and it's probably one of the reasons why I feel this way. I remember when you got a game, and if it had a problem with the game, it was what it was. I remember getting Madden 04, Madden 05 when they had certain issues in the game, and you know what? You had to wait till the next year to get that game for that part to be fixed. It just what, but what it
Hmm.
did was those games respected the game of the sport that it was representing. But on top of that, as a gamer, you were able to not necessarily deal with the problem with the game. It made you a better gamer because you overcame that problem. You didn't have
Exactly.
to get on social media and whine and say, "Oh, my quarterback keep throwing these messed up passes," or "Why I can't catch any interceptions." We just learned how to get players to catch interceptions. We got players to throw better. That's why one
Yep.
thing one thing that you do sliders for Madden 18 to fix the wrongs of that.
Hmm.
The
To the
majority,
best of my ability, at
yeah,
least.
exactly. The majority don't do that, and that's why for me it just got disheartened. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna go play Madden 07 on my original Xbox. I'm gonna play my NCAA 07 on the original Xbox. I'm gonna play my NCAA 14. I'm good. You
And
know what
I'm
I'm
on
saying?
that same wavelength because it gets to the point where me and DJ talk about this all the time.
Shout
And
out to
shout out to
DJ.
DJ81, definitely. Like, me and him talk about this all the time. If Madden was to add the number of sliders to their game that NHL has, I guarantee you there wouldn't be any complaining from me because I would be able to pretty much remedy anything in that game that I felt was a major issue. In NHL 18, not that the game came out with any major issues because it's a great game. They have so many different sliders that you can get into to fix issues or even just to address your preferences. It's crazy. And Madden's set of sliders is quite frankly pretty antiquated at this point.
I think the sliders of Madden needs to be changed because those are the same sliders that've been around since the PS3
Madden
Madden.
11.
Yeah, they've
No,
been
because,
probably
yeah,
before
Madden
then.
11.
Probably
Yeah.
before then. I mean, they've been around so long, and I don't care what anybody say. The game is still coded based on that from
It
back
is.
then. It still is. Not to say it's a bad game, but we're not going to sit here and play like it's not. Even though they added Frostbite, and I don't know what they're going to do with Frostbite in Madden 19, but when you saw the implementation, you saw some things that were different, but you knew the core. The
Hmm.
core of the game was still what you played back then. So
Yeah.
it's it,
Hopefully, I mean, it's just like I'm not holding out hope, but hopefully Madden 19, we're gonna see in a little over a month if Madden 19 is on a new engine or what they're doing. I doubt it. Hopefully, it is. Maybe they add some sliders, add to that damn dry ass franchise mode they have.
That's what got me really. That got me hands off because I just couldn't do it. I'm a dynasty guy.
Oh my.
I'm a dynasty guy. I'm a franchise mode guy, and they just. I think Madden 19 will be the year that they're going to give us a fleshed out offline dynasty or the fleshed out offline franchise mode, and
Mm-hmm.
don't expect nothing else after that
Nah.
because we know where the direction that sports titles are going. It's going to
Oh
be
yeah.
more competitive gaming,
Mm-hmm.
esports, microtransactions, and that was already there. But
Yep.
it's going in that direction, and I don't care what developer says or anybody. That money is talking. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
knock them because it's a business, but that money's talking. And if they
Definitely.
cannot monetize on that franchise mode, it's going to get left in the dust. That's why,
Yeah.
let's go double back. That's what I like about Access Football. From what I'm reading, I'm looking at the Operation Sports Forum. It looks like they're going to be able to have they're gonna have a big franchise mode in this game. So I'm looking from a distance to see where this goes. And
Mm-hmm.
if the way I feel about these games nowadays, I don't want to touch them for the most part. But
Mm-hmm.
if the franchise mode is on point, I may get back into it a little bit. You
Madden
know?
18, Madden 18 would have got a whole lot of play for me if the franchise mode was better last year, and it was the simple things that didn't keep me immersed, like a 2K franchise would,
Oh my God!
or even a FIFA franchise for that matter.
Oh, and I'm gonna tell you about FIFA in 1 second before we go to the other football game.
Hmm.
Um, you know my favorite soccer game. I troll with you all the time. Nintendo World Cup.
Yep.
That's my favorite soccer game. I grew up. I remember playing that game ever since I was like 6.
Right.
That game I love. That's my soccer game. But I'm stepping up a little bit, Bills.
Oh boy.
I got FIFA '07 for the
Okay.
original Xbox.
That's a good
I
game.
got that. I got the FIFA '07. Now I started playing a little bit, so I might be up there on that level to play the FIFA y'all play. But right now, I
Right.
got to take baby steps because I still got
Nah,
my.
FIFA 7 is a good game. I
Yeah,
remember
man,
that game.
listen, let me tell you something. I didn't know this, and people know that I'm a big original Xbox fan. I'm a really big one. So I saw the game, and I was like, I didn't even know FIFA came out. And I know it came out on the original Xbox, but I didn't know '07 came out. And if a lot of people don't know, 2007 is like one of the last years that EA Sports supported the original Xbox. So
Hmm.
you have very high quality sports titles on the original Xbox. I mean, like NBA Live '07, that game runs at 720p native. You
Hmm.
have FIFA runs at 720p native. And I know people, 720p, oh, fuck that. We play at 4K now. You got to understand, back in 2006,
Right.
back you got on back in 2006, there were games that were on the PS3 and Xbox 360 that did not run native 720p
Hmm.
that are on the original Xbox back then,
Yep.
back when that game came out in '06. So I want y'all to know that.
Xbox
So
was before its time.
yeah, the Xbox. I mean, even to this day, even with the Xbox One, I mean, Microsoft in general, they always do something ahead of the game to a fault.
Hmm.
That's what kind of hurt the Xbox One in the beginning with the always online stuff. But they're always thinking ahead, and I always love Xbox for that. But like I said, man, FIFA '07, man, I graduated, so you never know. I might be talking some soccer with y'all down the road. So, but
Yo, I mean, FIFA has consistently put out quality games for so many years. There's been barely any drop off. It just sucks that we can't have the same in the football game world. But
it should be there, but
who knows?
it
Madden
should
19 could be the
It
whatever.
could be. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not going in the right direction because Madden has been really good every year. But
Mm,
it's just not where it needs to be because when you talk about what's really good, I take it like this. Madden 16, I'm not even going to talk about 15.
uh-huh.
Madden 16 without the running game, because the running game in 25 was better. But
Oh,
overall, Madden 16 is exactly what Madden 25 should have been with the running game. You look at
yeah.
Madden 18 should have been what Madden 17 was.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could say what Madden 18 should have been in place what Madden 16 is, and
Yeah.
Madden 16 should have been what 25 was. If that makes sense, is it
I
to
mean, because
me?
we got the second year on Frostbite now, and there's no excuse why we can't get dynamic weather at this point, better crowds, and a whole lot of other shit that they should be implementing, taking advantage of the
I'm gonna tell you
Frostbite.
right.
And
Let me tell you right now. I don't have an issue with Madden 18, but they need a franchise mode that's flushed out, similar to NBA 2K, my league. That
mhm.
franchise mode is fucking amazing.
Oh
They
yeah,
need that. They need the crowds, and they need the weather. If
yep,
they get those three things, I can see myself possibly going back and play and getting back on current gen sports titles.
definitely.
But right now, look, I'm every title that came out in '07 for the original Xbox, NASCAR, even NASCAR '07, NHL '07, FIFA '07,
College football.
college football '07, Madden '07, that and I've been playing some of the 2008 series on the 360. Like,
Hmm.
All Pro Football 2K8, MLB 2K8. I've been
Yep.
playing but that era, those are high quality games, and that's where I'm at. But if I'm telling you, if Madden do what I said they'll do, I think they'll be all right. But
Oh yeah.
we're gonna talk about another game. Is a college football game.
Hmm.
We've been I ain't gonna lie. I had no faith in this game at all. IMV gaming, I had none because of what happened with another game we will not talk about.
Uh.
That we waited long enough. Yeah, we're
Oh.
not gonna talk about that game. We're still waiting for that game. Waited long
Sheesh.
enough. We're still waiting for that game. But anyway, I had no faith in this game because of that situation. So IMV Gaming is supposed to be coming out with the college football game in 2020. You can another one you can from customize, and it's
Hmm.
supposed to have you can create up to 126 created teams.
Right.
They can customize teams, rosters, and I think this is awesome because I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of people say that unlicensed games won't work, but y'all got to understand that to a degree, NCAA 14 is somewhat quote unquote unlicensed.
Hmm.
You don't have the real players on there. They have a team builder where you can customize up to 126 teams, and I still play that game to this day. And there are
Right.
people on that game. There are people in that community. Not only that they customize the rosters for the actual NCAA teams, with those 126 teams, those slots, those 126 slots you got on Team Builder, I've seen them do FCS teams. I done seen them
Hmm.
do local community college teams. Hell, I done seen them do NFL teams on that game. So
Right.
the community will take care of this. Unlike how I feel about Axis, I'm not sure about Axis too much, but people been jonesing for a college football game so bad. You're not going to have a problem getting those teams on this game. Absolutely
No.
not. But like I said, I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm being cautious right now. We still haven't seen any real gameplay. Um, we haven't really even seen any real graphics. Not much of the game has been developed at all.
I saw one. Well, I ain't even gonna say this is a part of the game. This is concept art that I see,
Hmm.
and I don't take that serious, so we're gonna keep it moving. Um,
Yeah, so the concept art, you know what I'm saying, it's cool, but like once we get into, this time next year, we'll probably have a good understanding of what the game's gonna be, probably.
yeah, I don't have much else to say about it, but I'm looking at this website right here. It's just on SB Nation. It's just showing a bunch of concept art, and the concept art looks good, but like I said, I don't know if it's the full game, so I don't care.
Right.
But I don't have much to say about it. I hope they come out, but to me, I don't. If it ain't there, it ain't there. And
Hmm.
you had up to 1,300 gamers already bought this game. 1,300 people already bought this game and don't know what it looks like. They haven't seen any gameplay.
That's interesting. I don't really. I
Yeah,
mean,
you know it'd be
I
funny.
have another word to describe it, but
You know,
it
you
was
know, you know it'd be funny.
like,
What if Damon Groh is on
oh
what
Jesus,
if he's a part of this
oh
situation?
my, I'll tell you
Yeah,
what.
what if he's on the team with
Yo,
IMV just for shits and giggles?
we're gonna
What
be
if people
waiting.
find out that he was on this team the
We're
whole
gonna be
time?
waiting even longer. That's what.
People are gonna be wanting refunds for what they bought already.
There'll be a lot of shots getting taken. No, bro, shit.
Anyway, we waited long. We waited long enough. We waited long enough. You know, I still got those pictures, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Those pictures was awesome, yo. Oh
Oh
man,
my
he was getting
God.
turned the fuck up. Well, anyway, anything else you want to add to the podcast, man? I think we covered everything. Like I said, the draft, NBA playoffs, these two
Mhm.
football games, gaming in general. Um, I think everything's on the up and up, man. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts about everything?
Nah. I think this was a good podcast. We obviously are gonna have a lot more topics for you guys, and once again, as always, we do like people to give topics for what y'all want us to talk about because the show is for you guys.
Absolutely,
So definitely make sure you add any suggestions, and we'll definitely take them into consideration
man.
and make sure they're on the podcast for the next show.
You can always hit us up on Twitter. Bill's Twitter handle is Let
At Bill,
everybody know. Let everybody know your Twitter handle.
at Bill's Fourth.
At Bill's Fourth, and mine is
Okay.
at VF Baller. Send us whatever you want, whatever you think we should talk about, or whatever the case may be, and share this podcast. Please share it. Let everybody know we're not necessarily looking for anything. We're not looking for anything monetization. We just want your
Yep.
time. We just want you to just listen and bring feedback because at the end of the day, we're talking about our thoughts about it about these topics, but we want to know your thoughts as well, and that's all we look for, just back and forth feedback, so we can fellowship together.
Hmm.
We're not looking for anything else outside of that. So I mean, just click the like button, watch and share. That's about it, and let us know what you guys think.
Yep.
And with that being said, man, we're gonna close it out. Like I said, we'll try to put this up every Thursday for you guys, and that's pretty much it, man. We just want to keep pushing out content. Everything like it's gonna be back in order. So,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
so any last words? I'm done, man.
Nah, man, y'all be well and stay out of trouble, and we'll catch y'all next time on the podcast.
Absolutely, man. And keep it gaming and keep it about sports.
Oh yeah.
Y'all boys take it easy. Peace.
Peace.